You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of Joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer.
What's happening, baby? Good morning. It's Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert. Happy summer!
We're here.
Welcome to summer. It's May 18th. I didn't hear any Beach Boys, but I did hear that there might be something on that in relative short order.
I heard rumors.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
The streets are talking. I do appreciate we have kicked off summer with what feels like a maybe a little less than perfect week to kick off summer in.
What do you mean?
Well, the next 4 days you won't get higher than like 65.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It
oh,
won't get back in the 80s until
Weekend
Friday.
looks great though.
I
Memorial
guess
Day.
Saturday.
The
Weekend
cold
looks great.
came behind the storm front, and here we are.
Here we are, but that's all right. It's summer. We're happy to be here. The unofficial, the Happer and Schaefer start of summer today.
Open the pools, folks. The 1620 The Zone pool is open.
Yeah,
and
get
you're
it out.
always-
At the dirt pond.
You're always welcome to come on inside.
Yeah, I was wondering, are you going to buy some koi to put into this pond that has developed?
I have a pond now,
Yeah, well, your pond will continue to exist throughout the week,
and it's a natural pond. It's not even a man-made
No,
pond.
it's not. It's
Man
not like
made this
Zarinsky.
pond.
I hope you return home today, and there's some of those geese that live out there that have just decided to stop by and are frolicking inside the pond.
My child would love that.
Yeah, oh, no doubt.
She would be very, very happy if there was geese that started to take up residency in the dirt lawn pond. But we'll see. I guess we will see. So happy summer, everybody. We have declared May 18th the start of summer. Is it arbitrary? Yes. But is the start of summer arbitrary in general? Yes. Memorial Day, June 21st, whatever it is. Obviously, the June 21st one has a reasoning behind it. It has to do with the sun.
The sunlight.
And I don't really, I'm not into that game.
And pretty much soon, we'll be starting to show when there's light out.
Well, I think we're kind of there. We have light in the sky. I
Yeah.
call that light out. Also, it was great last night after the storms passed. I mean, the sky turned yellow. The
Yeah,
sun
It
was
did.
going.
It did.
It's great.
It was very cool yesterday, weather-wise. Just watching everything roll in, roll out. Whether it was when it got really dark, probably what?
How'd you do it?
750?
Did you porch it?
I didn't really porch it. I have like big windows that face nothing really behind me, so I have
Oh.
an unencumbered unencumbered shot of the skyline back behind to the northwest, and so
Wow.
everything just opened up. Very cool, very pretty.
Wow.
I got a good view of whatever was happening over in Millard and Chalco.
Oh, yeah.
Just seeing what the clouds were.
I was watching that hook on the radar. I've become a weather expert. I think most have. If you've lived here long enough and you watch severe weather coverage enough, I gotta be honest with you. I love severe weather coverage. It's great. Like I said this on Twitter last night. If it would have been a better Game 7, like maybe I would have been like had the other one on, had the game on the other TV.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I was locked in severe weather coverage from about. I don't know. It was probably
It was about 7:30.
Oh, it was earlier than that
Or
for me.
7.
I was still looking for something. I was fiending for something when the golf tournament was on still. And that guy I never heard of won.
Aaron Ray,
Yep, never heard of him. Who
Okay.
is he?
just he's an English golfer. He's fine.
He won
He's
a
won tournaments
major
before.
He won a
so.
real life major.
Yeah, well,
No one even knew.
major.
Well, I mean, it's a major.
He won the one that Y.E. Yang has won, and multiple other players who will not be
Nice.
remembered in golf.
People forget that Danny Willett won the Masters one time.
Well, that's true. There are winners of every tournament that you're just like,
There
whoa.
you go. So don't
But the
delegitimize the
PGA
beautiful PGA championship.
The PGA, the less than major. Congratulations to Aaron Ray. A nice win for him.
I was like, who is this guy? Get him off my TV. I want
It
severe
won't even
weather
get a
coverage.
man of the weekend from anybody on this show.
I don't. This will be the only time he gets mentioned.
Sure. No
There's-
doubt
Might as
about it.
well.
I honestly did not
I
know
suppose
his name.
if he goes on and wins the U.S. Open, I'll just go ahead and give him man of the weekend at that point.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's nice.
Preemptive.
I probably still won't hurt it. Nah, he will have won 2 majors by
You'll
then.
be like, oh wow, that guy won back-to-back majors.
Yeah. All right. Well,
That's more than Bryson, right?
I don't know.
I think Bryson a 1 or 2. He might be a 2. I think he's won the PGA.
Let's find out together. How many majors has Bryson DeChambeau won? He won 2.
Okay.
2020 U.S. Open, 2024 U.S. Open.
Okay, so he hasn't won the PGA.
So
Never
one
mind.
one unique major, but 2 separate events. All right. Welcome to the show here on a Monday. Happy summer. Yes, it's going to be in the 60s today, which is very, very exciting. They say you declare a thing about a season and then it immediately just shifts on you, and that's exactly what has happened here. Today, coming up on the show, we'll have our regular Monday guests. Michael Brunts, Tim Verghese. Tim's at 8:30. Michael is at 9:15. We'll finally ask Michael for the first time ever, will Nebraska host a regional? The answer seems increasingly yes.
Yeah, it's definitely closer than I thought it was going to be when we went back to doing this conversation like a month and a half.
The wind is blowing in the right direction as far as the hosting the regional situation is concerned. So those are our guests today. We would love to hear from you all. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You can call or text that number. Tweeted us at HappenSchafe, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor, Mike, or Joey at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. Good morning to our YouTube streamers. Today, we got an email already from Mike on the Equitable Bank inbox, Brett Free Mike. He said, Happy Beach Boys Day. Thank you for remembering that. I appreciate it. And we are rocking and rolling. Elsewhere today on the show, we'll recap a big weekend. As we mentioned, Nebraska baseball appears on track as they have been to host a regional. Nebraska softball advances to the super regional and doesn't even score.
Yeah.
Did you hear this? Did you see this? Did you hear about this?
Well, I mean, I know that they have won games without scoring many runs.
That's exactly what they did 3 times.
It was a group of death, and it was a group of death for offense.
Is that what we're saying? It's the group of death.
Well, that's what
that's
the
what we
regional
phrased.
was.
All right.
That's what we called it
everyone was
last week.
saying.
Okay.
Well, not everyone. The
It
people
has
that I know
sparked
that know
some
softball.
concern. It sparked some concern. You could
Oh,
you advanced through the regional, but you didn't do it pretty enough.
this
They did what they needed to do.
I'm just saying.
All right.
The concern has been sparked, but people are concerned about a lot of things that don't matter, including how people say "Go Big Red" in the crowd. Did
Oh,
you
wow.
see that?
No, I missed that.
Oh, they're mad at the guy. Kevin, the super fan, Kevin.
Yeah.
He really likes to say "Go Big." He does his "Go Big Red" chants, and he says it. His cadence is off. They say.
Gotcha.
He says "Go Big Red," but he doesn't say "Go Big Red."
Okay.
And so people are
Feels
like,
like we're-
"What's up with this guy? He's messed up."
We're getting a little nitpicky here.
I agree, but I'm just saying.
I'm just happy Kevin's
in the spirit of being nitpicky, people don't like that they only scored like what 7 runs
Yeah.
in over 3 games.
which was enough.
They
Won by a combined score 7-1 in the 3 games.
Run differential is not that important.
Yeah. Well,
Score more runs than the other team. And
Yeah.
you win.
Not in a table setting.
that's true. They are not trying to advance through pool play. They just have to beat the teams that they actually play, which is a great American system.
They don't have to reveal too much for Oklahoma State. Just let the surprise happen for next weekend.
Joey's going the other way. Joey's saying they're hiding it.
Oh, wow.
I don't know about that, Joey. You might be too homer with that one.
That's a little out there.
You said I don't. We're just gonna not hit at all the entire weekend. Anyway, we'll discuss that as we go on throughout the show, and then we'll bring them both together. Yes, it's another. It is another couple examples of a terrific academic year for Nebraska athletics. Well, I don't know how they did in academics, so I'm sure they did fine. But a calendar year for Nebraska athletics. I have a couple other variety of different questions today. When will the TV executives stop explaining to us that they have good TV ratings? I have a question. That's my question to them. A list. We are going into list season, ladies and gentlemen. And
watch list season or
no,
just list season?
Just a list. A list of everyone. A list of all the college football teams. Did you know that there are 138 FBS teams now?
Wow.
No, I think I was still operating in the 120s. I mean, they got to 132
I thought it was
or something.
I thought it was
here in the last
130.
couple of years.
We are up to 138 FBS teams.
Well, now
Was there a most surprising name amongst the 138 where you were like, no?
The additions are the additions are certainly interesting.
You have Sac State,
Missouri State, Delaware.
yeah,
and then the obvious one, our dear friends in Fargo,
North Dakota State.
North Dakota State. So I guess there was 136 last year. So there's the addition of just those two.
Sam Houston and Kennesaw were added 3 years
couple
ago.
years ago.
So there, we have Missouri State relatively recently.
Famously,
as
James
well.
Madison just like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
People
They're still
forget about Kurt
dominating.
Cignetti. So there you go, 138 FBS teams, and CBS Sports ranked them all.
Oh boy.
Also, another list that came out over the weekend from one of the aggregator Twitter accounts. Did you know that Nebraska would have made the playoff 0 times with a 24-team playoff?
That doesn't surprise me.
Well, you're about to learn again. And Matt Campbell has triggered Iowa State fans, and a big picture conversation. It's something that Sam wrote about in his rewind today about Nebraska having a national program versus a regional program. I don't know if we're going to get to all of these things, but they are on the piece of paper, and there you go. Also, the Big Ten baseball tournament starts tomorrow, and it wouldn't be the Big Ten baseball tournament without half the teams not being there and there being disgusting weather. So there you go. What you've told me, Schaefer, shouldn't really surprise me.
Welcome to the Big East Stadium.
Basically,
it is in Big East country. You have to admit that.
the Big Ten baseball tournament is in Big East country.
Is it not?
Well, Creighton does play here. Yeah,
It is literally across the street from the Big East.
it is. They're playing in the park of a Big East school.
Exactly. Welcome to the Big East.
You should hold a sign out there. Do you think you will spend a second around that stadium this weekend or this week?
Oh no.
Yeah.
I will not be here.
You will avoid it.
Yeah, he's
that's right.
he's
You
going to be in
were- I
Ohio.
forgot.
Yeah, I will not be here.
I forgot
He's going to
about
be in
that.
Mason, Ohio for the Big East tournament.
People
You'll be
forget.
there Wednesday, well, Tuesday, but
Uh-huh.
Wednesday for the show, Thursday for the show, and then we'll see you on Friday.
We'll see on Friday.
That's what I know.
I don't know how
Okay.
the weather looks in that area of the country. I'm sure Joey would probably be able to tell me.
It's a little bit gloomy.
I'm not
the-
But
driving.
assuming this is following across the
Yeah,
the country.
pretty
here.
much.
I'm not driving, but if I were Joey, how would I get there?
Oh boy, so that's in the Cincinnati area.
Yes.
So take I-80, then once you're in Illinois, just go south 74, get through Indianapolis, and then you're on 70. Go east, and then go south 75, and then Mason somewhere over there.
It is. It's in the northwest, I think, suburb of
It's
Cincinnati.
somewhere over there.
It is. She's like, go to Cincinnati and you'll find it, which
Yeah.
is true. Which is actually true.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
I've been through that route anyway, so I kind of know.
Okay.
Except for the Cincinnati part. I was just going to Columbus, Ohio to visit my sister.
Oh. I saw the Reds and the Guards fans were chirping at each other this weekend.
Probably that. It's not like a rivalry because I mean
There was some chirping.
It is, but it's not. I don't
Little
know how
light
else to
chirping.
explain that. But yeah, well, the cities don't like each other because it's just like a city rivalry thing.
It was being instigated. Well, I guess I don't know where it started, but the one that I saw was the Cleveland Guardians social media account saying "back to your home" or something like that, and then they circled Kentucky because people from Cleveland apparently like to make fun of people from Cincinnati because they're in Kentucky, which is partly true.
And the people from Cleveland are almost basically in Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that sounds a lot
Just sort of
cooler
how-
though.
Cincinnati's airport's
I
in
mean,
Kentucky.
There's definitely a big thing across the two cities.
There you go. They are not friendly. They are
The
throwing
important thing
shots at
is
each other.
Cleveland played a baseball game where they hit a bunch of home runs and won a game. That's a fun way to win baseball.
That's crazy. I heard they moved Stephen Kwan out of the top of the order, and they're interested in trading him now.
They were interested in trading him last year.
I'd be interested in Stephen Kwan.
You're probably welcome to have him. I doubt they're going to move him in.
Well, I mean, he would be a perfect Royal. What's he hitting? About 220? No home runs, 14 runs batted in, something like that.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds good to me. Mike writes in, when does NU play? Like day 5 of the tournament? Yeah, pretty much. Day 4.
Day 4.
So that's Friday.
Friday.
And they don't know who they play yet because they haven't lost and or won at this point in time.
It could be one of 4 teams, I think.
It could be anyone. Who knows? It could be
I
7.
did
Ohio
enjoy
State.
the Big Ten sent their graphic out and they had the bracket wrong
Correct.
as they sent it out because that describes Big Ten baseball
Sure does.
to a T.
They got the bracket wrong when they sent it out from the official thing. And then I got a second email from the Big Ten that said, this is the revised and correct bracket. Nebraska will play Friday at 5. All-time Central. Yes, 5.
Yep.
Friday at 5 against a team unknown, but probably Ohio State.
Yeah, because the grouping is what?
Michigan, Rutgers, Ohio State, and Washington. Although Washington had a nice little weekend against UCLA.
Yep. And then Michigan is kind of on the outside looking in.
Michigan has tanked it.
Yeah.
They tried to RPI massage and they massaged too hard. And then they just stopped.
That's the problem with massaging, apparently.
They just stopped winning
You
games.
can over massage.
But Ohio State's hot right now. Maybe the Big Ten's hoping that maybe Nebraska could fall on the sword for the Big Ten because all 4 of those top 4 teams are making it. And then you could just let Ohio State in, bid stealer. You got 5 teams in the Big Ten. All of a sudden, you're like, we're a power conference.
Isn't Purdue likely to get in?
Yeah, Purdue's probably going to get in too.
6 teams.
Yeah, Michigan.
Unless it's one of those Purdue wouldn't get in because you would take if there's an AQ.
Maybe Michigan's a threat to get in too. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of available teams, but you could make it a reality if Nebraska just falls on the sword on Friday and loses to Ohio State or Michigan, and then that team goes on and wins the championship in Omaha. Although the crowds would probably suffer if Nebraska were to lose on Friday.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
So. We'll see. They had an interesting 3-game set against Minnesota for sure.
Oh, it was interesting. All right. It was most certainly interesting. Matthew says, I doubt the crowds will be big until Nebraska plays, maybe during Iowa games, but others will be low.
That's a perfect time playing at 5 o'clock on a Friday before Memorial Day weekend. People are going to get out of work early just to not only enjoy the weekend, but get to see Nebraska play a pivotal match.
Yeah, I don't even know how important it is. I actually expect, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe people will just come out in droves for this, but I don't get the sense that they will.
I think that
they don't need it very much.
I think Saturday, Sunday would have because one, the weather's going to be nicer. 2, it's the long weekend, and I think the general interest in the team is as high as it's going to get. So
yeah, but for this.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they're in, like they actually needed to win this the last 2 years.
I think you underestimate though. Like, there's people that are like, "Well, I didn't go down and watch them in Lincoln ever," and they're here in Omaha. I've got nothing going on a Saturday. I might as well just go watch this team play.
No, I know. I agree with you on the weekend thing, but I'm not like I don't know. I don't know if the fervor will be quite there as it has been in previous years.
Guarantee if they get UCLA on a Sunday, that thing.
Obviously, that changes it. Yes, of course, that is an important game. That is.
I'm just saying, like, I think you're downplaying what's probably going to be good crowds. Even if they don't get to Sunday, if they could just get to Saturday alone, I think Saturday will have a pretty good crowd.
Okay, what's pretty good? Let's do it.
All right. 14-15.
Saturday at 6 o'clock against Oregon or some other random team. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean,
because I'm trying to think of what they had for Penn State last year. And it was it like 18? And then
I don't have any idea. I wasn't here.
But I went to it. There was a ton of people there, or it felt like there was a ton of people there. And And then I know the next day was obviously even bigger.
You don't think
with the
it, but
championship.
here's my point. You don't think it'll at all be affected by the fact that Nebraska doesn't need this at all?
I think that's less of a part of it because I think, again, some of it is like, hey, this team's here. I haven't been to a game. Might as well go.
Yeah, I'm sure that would exist no matter
So,
what. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I don't understand what box you're trying to place this in. So, like, do you think only 8,000 people are going to show up?
I just
Do you
think
think there's going to be like no buzz for it? Because
that's probably a better way to put it.
I guess I don't understand why.
Another factor,
I just explained it.
because looking at the softball super
No,
regional,
you didn't.
so Thursday's game's at 8, but the Friday game is going to be at 4:00, an hour before the start of the baseball game. And then if they play a game 3 in the super regionals on Saturday, that's also going to be at 4:00. So it's
Be
gonna
split attention.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
I didn't think about that, Joey.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joey Schedules. I appreciate
Definitely a
that.
possibility.
No, I just think they don't need it. They don't need to win these games. They are not important to their season unless they get to the championship against UCLA.
Yeah.
And that in that case, it would be huge, and you have a chance to go for a championship. So if you lose, you say, if you win, it's exciting and people, the crowds continue to multiply as you go on throughout the weekend. I just don't think it's important to what they're doing. Like Nebraska has needed this tournament the last several years.
Well, definitely last year. I mean, they weren't going to get in if they didn't win.
That's my only point.
Yeah, I acknowledge that they have less need for the tournament. I don't think it's going to knock down how many people ultimately end up going.
D'Lo writes,
generally the buzz for it.
D'Lo writes in, disliking this program must be exhausting. Why are we being like this morning? What's going on?
I don't know who we is. Him?
Him? You?
Well, I'm just like, I don't understand why you think there'd be less buzz for the team that's had the best regular season that they've had in a long time.
Yeah.
I would think there'd be more buzz. Like, okay,
that's a good argument for
they
it.
have 40 some wins. Like, I'm going to go out and watch this team play. They potentially win Friday. You have an opportunity to go play for a championship. Like, I think there's a lot of interest in what's happening here because I think a lot of it is like, oh, another Nebraska team that I can support that's successful, just like with basketball. Like, I think there's this whole like run that's happened here this spring for Nebraska sports where all of the football sucks. I don't want to think about that. I'm investing all of my time and energy in these sports that are winning right now on this side of the schedule.
Uh-huh.
Like, so I guess I think like when you're, I don't think there's going to be much buzz for it. I don't know where that comes from because that's not the perception that I've gotten about this baseball season.
Because I don't think they need to win the games.
I understand you keep saying that. I don't think that's going to have the effect that you do in stunting crowds or interest for the end of the weekend.
That is where we disagree.
Right. And so, but I don't understand why you think people are, quote, being like that with whatever D'Lo said.
Oh, D'Lo's, he just thinks that I dislike Nebraska.
I don't even think what we're having is contentious. Like, I'm just somewhat confused why you think that it's going to be muted by the fact that they are already successful. Because again, I'm
not saying as like a shot at anybody or anything.
I don't think you are. I think you're getting defensive about. Well, D'Lo's comment obviously was probably a reason to get defensive. I don't think you're taking a shot at the baseball program or that the fans won't attend or any of that.
Yeah, not at all. That's just my general read on the situation. Yeah. I guess we just have different reads.
Yes, that seems that way.
That's all. Let's see. Text from the 515. It's been a great year, but I'm afraid they aren't going to go very far if they don't start getting people out. They will need to get people out, but their offense will need to carry them. We will talk about that as we go on throughout the show today. Our man of the weekend coming up at the end of the hour. We're back after this on a Monday on 1620 The Zone. All right, Monday here on Happer Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Check out look at this. It's the first day of summer for us. The Summer Sizzle giveaway. Turn up the flavor with the Summer Sizzle giveaway. Enter to win, and you could score a combo meal every week all summer long. A combo meal from where? Arby's. Oh, yeah. 13 weeks of hot, delicious wins. No cooking, no stressing, just sizzling bites on us and on Arby's. Enter now at 1620thezone.com and make this your tastiest summer yet. I love Arby's, and I would love Arby's for an entire summer, but I am not eligible for this prize.
What's the standard Arby's order for you?
The second biggest roast beef. No, I think is there 4 sizes of roast beef sandwiches?
I thought it was like regular and then XL or whatever.
But I think there's like,
is there a size between XL
it's like
and
it's
regular?
like regular, big, really big, and then monster or something.
Oh.
I don't know.
Well, no, because the slider's got to be one of the sides, right? Or
Maybe.
sizes, right?
It's whatever like the second smallest one is.
Okay.
It's the equivalent of a regular, I think, or a big. And curly fries, and I do like. Hopefully, I'm getting everything for everybody. So like it's a large, sort of like communal meal order. But I have to get the potato cakes and the mozzarella sticks.
Yeah,
And so that's a
Of
lot.
course, the mozzarella sticks.
That's a lot for just me if it's just me in my order, but if it's kind of 2 of us or 3 of us, I feel fine getting the potato cakes and the mozzarella sticks.
They have like an $8 value box or something. They had something like that at one point in time. That was pretty great because it's basically everything you described there minus the potato.
That sounds good.
Small fry, small drink,
I didn't know they had that.
sticks, and a sandwich.
I usually get the smokehouse brisket there.
Look at that. You can get
That
any of
sandwich is
those
good.
things if you just sign up for our summer sizzle giveaway at 1620thezone.com. That is brought to you by Arby's. Speaking of food, Matt Campbell has triggered the Iowa State fan base. He is not just because he has left the program and left it in somewhat of a state of disarray. It feels like Iowa State might not ever be good again. That's just what it feels like to me. But he did an interview with Andy Staples and Ari Wasserman of On 3 and got into a variety of different things about what makes the job and what makes the old job the old job. Here is one thing that he said about Ames, Iowa. Quote, hopefully the people in Ames, Iowa won't be mad I say this, but sometimes you felt like you were in a bit of a food desert in Ames, Iowa. So number one, there's multiple options for dinner here in State College. There's multiple places to go out to eat, and the food has been outstanding. I think the biggest win for the Campbell family is that there's a Trader Joe's in town. So there's been a monumental win for the entire family. That won me big praise right away. So I am thankful for Trader Joe's. Meanwhile, back in Ames, Iowa State fans saw this quote and they were unpleased. They said, we have good food. We have that one barbecue place that people talk about.
Jethro's,
which is, it's Ames, which is like, 20 minutes away from
Des Moines.
Yeah. I don't understand how you could be in a food desert in Ames and not be in a food desert in State College.
So that's basically what I went and looked at, because State College is more remote than Ames in every possible way.
Yeah.
It's not all that much bigger than Ames, I'm fairly certain, just based off of population. And then you throw in the fact that the drive from like Ames to Des Moines is closer than State College to Harrisburg.
To society.
Yeah.
To civilization. Yeah.
I mean, that's the most hated trip of every Nebraska media member, because it's always in November and it's always crappy to get to. So I am a little surprised that it's more of a food desert in Ames next to Des Moines, but I do enjoy any Iowa shade that exists out there.
Do you think if Matt Rule gets asked this question after he's no longer the coach here, what do you think the response, or he starts talking about this? Because he has raved about his time in Lincoln and how, there's actually good restaurants here and things like that.
Yeah.
Now, I imagine my current read on this is that when he is no longer the coach here and down the line, he's talking about his other job and, how he's at, I don't know.
Probably talking about the Phillies in Philadelphia or the Carolina barbecue in Charlotte.
No, I'm thinking like 10 years down the line, he's an assistant for the Giants or something like that. And like, he leaves, he's like, yeah, The food here is a lot better. I remember I spent X amount of years, an undetermined now amount of years in Lincoln, Nebraska, and the food sucked there. I could imagine him saying that.
Part
would
of it
not
is
be
I have a
good.
tough time imagining him being like the sort of guy, unless it goes really bad at the end. Like, I think he'll talk about Lincoln with reverence because he'll do it in the sort of political way.
He will, which
the
will
calculated way.
frustrate people. It frustrates Scott. It frustrates us that Scott Frost doesn't talk about it. It's going to frustrate us when Matt Rule does talk about it.
What fascinates me more in this conversation, less than the food, because I think he would just say nice things about Carmela's, because I think that's the place that he likes the most.
Yeah.
Or that he has said that he likes the most. You said something about like what he would be doing 10 years from now if done with Nebraska. And you said assistant coach with the Giants. I know you were just throwing that off the cuff. Doesn't he seem like he's the classic, like ends up as a studio analyst? Because he will financially not need another football coaching contract.
He will most certainly not.
I mean, he probably didn't, and actually, there's no probably. He didn't post Carolina.
That's true.
Either.
He could have sat there for a little while.
But you'd have post Carolina, post Nebraska. At that point, you're in a different category of bounce back retread coach.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder if like studio analyst is the next thing for Matt Rule post being a football coach.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel I guess he could do that and still do all the things that he likes to do.
Yeah, well, I think he just sort of would have
a
media brand. Like, I think that's what it would be. I don't know that it would be a I don't know that he would be a coach again somewhere immediately.
Yeah.
Like, I think there'd be at least a few year period where he's like doing television.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time
and
telling.
With Scott Frost,
this is to a point. This is sort of actually what frustrates me about Rule is I don't know what he is. Like,
is he spotted or is he striped?
He's a bit of an enigma to me.
Right.
And I feel like I should have it pegged what his post Nebraska job would be by now, but I don't.
But with Frost,
for Scott, it was easy.
Yeah, for that, it felt easy because it's like that guy is never going to the Nick Saban rehab school. He is not going to go be an assistant.
He is going to sit around for 2 years, and maybe if he gets a great job offer, he'll take it. And he did.
It's like he's going to disappear and play a ton of golf. And when he reemerges, it will be a head coach at a program that is seeking someone that also needs a redemption.
We will never hear from you again.
Right. So with Rule, I don't think there's a redemption arc. I think it's just straight into television.
Okay. That's going out on a limb a little bit. I don't know what the
do we need to put it on the proclamation sheet for 10 years down the line when this show still exists somehow?
Yes.
Okay.
Or I'll just randomly pull up the proclamation sheet one day and say, remember those proclamations? This is an extended one. So there you go. Put it on there, Joey. Schaefer says Matt Rule will go straight to TV after
for multiple years, because it should be more than just like 1 year.
So like, he's going to actually do TV.
Like multiple.
He's going to work for. He's not just going to like.
He'll be a studio analyst, and then he'll get an opportunity to call like a football game as color.
Is there a comp that you'd like to make? Is he Urban Meyer?
The comps are probably never all that flattering because I feel like the guys who end up in television post their coaching career, at least for most of my life, have not necessarily been coaches that were like this isn't Nick Saban, is what I'm saying. Clearly.
Okay.
Yeah, it feels like he could be a DiNardo-esque person.
Oh, good. Ooh.
Like that's a
long TV career.
Well, yeah, and so like that's what I mean. Like a guy,
but he's more TV for me now than he was coach. Is Matt Rule?
DiNardo. I don't think of as a coach.
Is Matt Rule going to be more TV than coach?
It could be.
Interesting. I don't know about that. I think he'll want to stay in the realm.
Now, there's the world of this. Like, if it goes well at Nebraska, then he's going to continue. This is basically,
of course, this is in a one-off contingency
this is the
situation.
Result scenario.
Of course. Yes. Apologize if you're we're starting up your
the
work.
Last thing I want to do is set things off on that note.
Did you believe these guys this morning? They were talking about what happens when Rule gets fired.
Particularly with, the last week's positive week for unsportsmanlike conduct. I don't want to ruin those vibes on day one.
By the way, we didn't say he was going to get fired. We said that after this, whatever the result of that might be. All right, let's take a break. Our man of the weekend is coming up next. A little teaser for me. I know who this person is, but this person
this confused me.
has remained anonymous.
Okay. All right.
After this on 1620 The Zone. right, it's time for our man of the weekend. Here on Happer and Schaefer. Live it. Oh, we have a lot of different options for this weekend. I'm excited to see which way we went. Could it be James Harden?
For getting to the conference finals for doing absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
He was right in the bus.
So no James Harden?
It's not James Harden.
Okay.
I'll go with Donovan Mitchell. I guess you go Mitchell, you go Mobley. I more or less just want to talk about this. So,
okay.
I'm shifting.
Is this your man of the weekend?
I'll give my man of the weekend to. We'll just say Donovan Mitchell because mainly, and I don't know who to like. It's like the opposite of the man of the weekend. We kind of had this conversation. It is jarring that it's game 7. You go to sit down, you go to watch it, and you realize I'm going to Amazon Prime to watch this game.
It's very odd.
It makes the whole thing feel so much less than it actually is, and I cannot get over it.
It does.
And we're gonna have
but
more of this.
The only way to break through that ice is to just keep putting big games on streamers.
There's nothing else you can do.
Yeah.
But you go to a playoff game on Peacock for the NFL, whatever. For some reason, that'll work.
I don't know. I'm with you on your original point on that.
Sure.
It just feels weird.
I'm guessing it's maybe more NBA or maybe Peacock, just because I've used it before for Sunday Night Football because the quality of picture is better than what I was getting on over cable or whatever. Just like sitting there watching on it, the game wasn't good, and the whole thing was just like, this feels like such a bad viewing experience. Like the announcers were fine, the quality of the video was fine.
Van Gundy is great.
That's how it was. That's how I felt with Thursday Night Football on Prime.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
That has kind of like come around a little bit. Like I just
don't want Kirk anymore.
Yeah, I have to deal with him twice this coming season for the Packers.
Yeah,
I'm not happy about it.
I can't believe he's still doing it.
I can't either. Get excited now for Thursday Night Football.
See, I love Thursday Night Football. I liked it more when it wasn't on Amazon.
In like but it's a less jokey way now. Like I actually like Thursday Night Football now. It's weird.
It definitely for me started off as like sort of I'm watching Bears. I'm watching Commanders. Worst teams in the NFL, Thursday Night Football. Let's go. 6-9.
They got like 100 people on their pregame show.
Yeah.
And they're kind of messing around.
2 years ago, we had the infamous 6-3 Seahawks Bears game.
Yeah.
That was fun.
The Bears have been involved in all of the bad ones. Shocking. But no, it was just weird how little it felt like there was any. I don't even know how to explain it, but like there's a game 7 and it's on ABC or it's on whatever.
Oh no, I got you.
It just
there's
feels
an aura.
big.
Yeah.
And this is like, I'm gonna go to Prime. I guess when I get done with this, I'll finish the show that I've been watching, the second season of Jury Duty.
I'll flip around.
And I did, and it was great, but it was still odd.
Hey, at least they gave the game to a great announcer, Stan Van Gundy.
You love Van Gundy.
He's a great
He's
basketball
fine.
analyst.
I don't get it why you love him so
Awful
much.
Announcing has listed him as the best NBA analyst of the season. He's unexpectedly reached to the top.
Is that your man of the weekend?
No, it's not. I was thinking about it. My man of the weekend.
Well, congratulations to Donovan Mitchell. By the way.
The most throwaway man of the weekend yet.
My man of the weekend is Texas Tech softball. I don't know if you've seen or heard about this, but they were down 8-0, down to their last out, and they forced extra innings against Ole Miss. They ended up winning that game 10-9. Then they played the final game for that regional, and they ended up winning 14-5. But they were down to their last out, 8-0. They did not give up, and they came back and won.
Dang!
The game.
So they had to win that game to force a winner take all. And
no. They went undefeated. This was like the winner's game, but this propelled them to be 2-0, and then they were able to dominate that last game against Ole Miss.
Weird things happen in that winner's bracket game of a regional. People are familiar with this.
The softball people I know were very concerned about Nebraska being in a draw with Texas Tech. Like that was a team that people wanted absolutely nothing to do.
They have one of the best players in the country.
Yeah.
All right. My man of the weekend is, you might think that he just is a person who went to a baseball game. In fact, I have photographic evidence. He just went to a baseball game. He wore a baseball jersey. Go ahead and well, I don't know why it came up
you
that
made
way.
this.
It came up as a background. No,
Come on, Connor.
Hang on. Give me a second. You might think that he's just a guy who went to a baseball game. He wore a jersey. He decided to enjoy his beautiful afternoon in Detroit at the Detroit Tigers game. And there he is. He's in that Matt Chapman jersey right there. He's buying a beer from the vendor behind home plate. Look at that view of downtown Detroit. And you see he's trying to purchase a beverage, and the man who is selling him the beverage is looking at his ID. And this is why he has earned our man of the weekend, because the next photo may surprise you. It is he tried to give him a McLovin ID, and he apparently, according to the person who tweeted this, spent at least 5 minutes trying to explain to the Detroit Tigers vendor of beer that he was McLovin.
Amazing.
And this was a real identification. And I do not know if he actually got his beer or not using his McLovin ID. But the fact that he even tried and really tried to mean it earns him our man of the weekend.
That look on the vendor's face right there, like, are you kidding me? Like, are we really
like,
doing this?
Is this, come on.
Is it like, am I on camera here? What's happening?
So there you go. That guy. Shout out to that guy.
Who looks like he would be of age.
I'm sure he is. Yeah. Maybe he forgot his ID in his car and he only had his McLovin ID.
My only fear with this is it's going to end up being like a fantasy football punishment, is what the story will be.
You have to go to a Major League Baseball game and
try to use a McLovin ID. If you get ID, you have to use a McLovin ID.
That's pretty good. I mean,
no,
it's
that
low
is
impact.
pretty good. The fantasy football punishments, I think I'm over, though. I think I'm past it.
Yeah, we've gone too
ridiculous.
far. We've gotten a bit too far.
The guy flying to Dubai, yeah, you're punished by just dumb.
Yeah. And I'm definitely sick of hearing about the whole Waffle House thing. Like
eating
it was
over there for
funny.
like 24 hours.
It was definitely funny the first time. I will admit. Yeah. So you have 24 hours and then you get to take an hour off.
However many waffles you eat.
Waffles you eat or whatever.
It's either IHOP or Waffle House, either one.
They did them at both.
Yeah.
And I'm just sick of hearing about that one. So maybe this is the next cool thing. You have to go to a Major League Baseball game and try to purchase a beverage with a McLovin ID.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely better than a lot of them. I just hope it's not related to it at all.
That gentleman with the Matt Chapman jersey at the Detroit Tigers game is my man of the weekend. So once again, I don't know who he is. I cannot name my man of the weekend, but
John Doe.
He's the hero that we need.
Unspoken hero is the person who outed all of this, so we even know of the story.
Yeah, I should go over to Twitter again and see. Oh, look, it's in the today's news section. Wow, no kidding. So the original tweet was this guy named David who said, "Guy spent 5 minutes trying to convince him his ID was legit. ... Losing my mind." So here's what Twitter AI garbage says for it. During Sunday's Detroit Tigers game against the Toronto Blue Jays at Comerica Park, a fan in a blue jersey flashed the iconic fake ID while the vendor, name badge reading Dewey N. Trey, patiently debated his legitimacy for 5 minutes. David, posting as that guy, snapped the photo of the tattooed vendor in his green uniform, gripping a beer can, his expression screaming future bar story. Fans lit up with super bad quotes like McLovin sighting, loving the peeling laminate detail, even as the Jays won 4-1 behind Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s home run. Thank you for that summary, AI. We really appreciate that. There you go. That's our men and women, I suppose, of the weekend. We'll be back. 7 o'clock hour is coming up on 1620 The Zone. Welcome back on a Monday morning. Happer and Schaefer, you're on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer with you as we start off your new week. Hopefully everybody turned out okay with the storm last night. There was a house in my area that got struck by lightning.
Oh,
I saw it on the Omaha scanner. It got struck by lightning and like caught on fire momentarily, and then everything, it seemed like everything was okay after that, except for I wouldn't want my house to get struck by lightning out of principle.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't sound like a good idea.
I think that is a very reasonable thing.
I'd rather say no.
I think a dirt pond is good enough for you, Connor.
Exactly. I'll take my dirt pond, and I don't need any other.
So, like
problems.
in the general vicinity of your neighborhood, or in your literal neighborhood?
The neighborhood
adjacent
across. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
some guy caught it on video with his drone. The drone. I gotta show you this in the break. It's a great. Whoever. Let me go find this video because I liked it last night. Dylan, this guy named Dylan, dude, like was flying his drone up there, and you could see the big. Here, actually, you know what, Schaefer? You could look at my screen right now. Here it comes. Big flash of lightning. Boom.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It was a big flash of lightning.
So hopefully everybody's okay. I think it seems like everybody's okay.
Definitely the appreciation I have for storm chasing and videos so much higher than it used to be. The Palmer tornado. I mean, you saw that video going
yes,
around
I
on
did.
social media. Like you and Matt were texting about Twister and its soundtrack.
Uh-huh.
Not Twister, Twisters.
Twisters. I haven't seen the movie, but I know that Luke Combs did the Oklahoma song.
And I'm just thinking to myself, like, yeah, weather chasing definitely seems like there's a lot more interest in it than there used to be, probably because of
so much more
the social media avenues. With all the different videos and platforms.
There are so many storm chasers who are streaming their storm chasing, and like we've always been a place around here where the amateur, like people will sit out on their like very few people are like afraid of the weather here. And so like that kind of is where the spark starts, I guess. It's like, oh, people, enjoy when the weather comes through. There are so many like YouTube storm chasers now, and several of them are just right in the middle of the thing.
You could just be like Joey and just put your phone on a little stand and just drive around Omaha and just see what's going on.
That's right. That's what you did when there was that snowstorm that one time. Joey did a great thing for the public. He's like, this road's okay. This road's okay.
Oh, there's an idiot on the road splashing ice on my car.
And then
thanks a lot.
It ended up being Joey curses at people because he has really bad road rage.
Yeah, well, it's understandable.
It's a lot worse outside of the video. I will tell you that.
No, I had a friend who seriously considered in college he was going to school to become a teacher, and I think he wanted to coach. And he was like really thinking about switching over to the weather program at Nebraska because he's super into it. And he's even after the point where he didn't do that, kind of wanted to get into the amateur storm tracking and everything else.
Well, you could do it if you just can find a way to have a dash cam and
just get a vehicle that's suitable for severe weathers.
Yeah, I don't know if you have to have the full like Batmobile like that Reed Timmer guy has, but it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
People freak out when that thing comes.
You should go storm chasing.
That thing was parked downtown overnight 2 nights ago. Downtown, they're like, we're going to chill out here, and then we're going to wait for these storms to pop up, and then we're going to be rocking and rolling. That's exactly what they did. So they took the big old Batmobile down the road and
worked out for them
right into the storm. So we are back 7:00 on a Monday here. Nebraska baseball over the weekend appears to be on track to host a regional. That's what people are saying anyway. And there's data to support this. They swept over the weekend against Minnesota. Any thoughts on the sweep against Minnesota? Aside from pretty hilariously keeping them out of the Big Ten tournament, that part of it was great.
Yeah, like Minnesota needed something.
They needed one. And it literally came down to the one game.
They had opportunities really in all, not so much. Well, I mean, they led briefly the first game before getting dismantled in that, and then the second game is the one where it just has to feel like they gave that away with another late inning collapse that Nebraska just puts up 6 runs or whatever it was. And they come back and they win that game in absurd fashion. And then again, they win on Saturday, which is your ho-hum 14-10 or whatever it was. Just a weird weekend.
Slug and skurs.
All the things that if you're a little concerned about what Nebraska baseball's full upside is, the pitching probably continues to feel a little scary, but their just ability to play and win in different manners has been remarkable.
So as we come back on Monday, here's the situation. The RPI is 10. These are the three factors, by the way, that the committee uses. The RPI is 10. DSR, the Diamond Sports Rating, is 18. And the KPI, the Kevin Pauga Index, is number 15. By the way, RPI and KPI are both hilariously used for baseball, even though they're made for not baseball. Baseball, I don't know if you guys knew this, is actually different. It should be treated differently than some of these other sports, but we like to get things down to a number. So this is the number that we're using. The DSR has them at 18. It's not like they use an average of all three or anything like that. They're just numbers that the committee sort of looks at in the absence of actually seeing the team play baseball or, whatever it might be. Haven't hosted since 2008. By the way, since then, they are 7-14 in the regional round and have only been to one regional final, which I counted that all up last night. I was like, dang,
they have quite a few 0-2s in there.
A lot of 0-2s and more 1-2s. A 1-2 seems like the common, they actually, more times than not, they seem to win the first game.
And then not again. Yeah. Last year, I think it was get smoked, win, got smoked.
Yes.
So.
But there's been a couple of them where it's win, lose close, get smoked. That formula.
Famously, the 2019 Oklahoma State.
And the other one, the what was the other time where that happened?
2014 Oklahoma State?
Yes. I had the whole list up in front of my face last night, but basically they came
Corvallis, back. I think they lost twice and went home.
They came back on the third day and it was just like.
They lost to Harvard at one point, I'm pretty sure.
It was Yale and Holy Cross.
Okay, it was Yale.
Yale and Holy Cross.
Yale!
I almost
town just keeps coming
That's
up.
right, New Haven. I almost came up with the list, but I thought that people would not want to hear it. That I almost came with the list of all the teams that they have lost and beaten.
We should talk about this week.
Okay. Well, I could check it out right now. It's kind of crazy, actually.
I don't think there's any reason for people to feel like the 2008 loss to the Anteaters shouldn't be referenced on the radio this week.
Okay.
I think it's okay. You can say the team names out loud.
Some
of the teams are even good. They went to the College World Series.
I will tell you exactly what that lineup is right now, since you're so interested in hearing it.
I am.
And remember, Schaefer is interested in hearing this.
Can I give you a bunch of names and you cross them off and then you tell me what I didn't get correct?
So we're starting, by the way, in after 2008, which is the last time they hosted a regional. They did not go again to a regional until 2014.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
So Oklahoma State is certainly going
to
be...
Are you doing wins or losses?
I'm doing losses.
Okay.
So Oklahoma State, they've lost to several times, I believe.
Oklahoma State, there's an X out there in 2016. There's a 2019 X out there as well. Yes.
Yeah. Western Carolina.
Yes.
We already mentioned Yale.
Western Carolina was the second and final loss of the Clemson Regional in 2016.
Yeah. Yale
and Holy Cross was the 2017 regional in Corvallis. Back-to-back losses to Yale and Holy Cross.
Oklahoma
was last year.
Let's see. Arkansas, who I haven't mentioned yet.
Arkansas.
And
twice in the same regional.
Or they never played Oregon State.
You ready?
Yeah, go ahead and give it.
All right, 2014. They lost to Cal State Fullerton.
UConn's in there somewhere.
They beat Binghamton, and then they lost to Cal State Fullerton. So 2 Cal State Fullerton losses in a row in the Stillwater Regional in 14. In 16, it was Oklahoma State and Western Carolina. In 17, it was Yale and Holy Cross. In 19, they didn't go in 18. In 19, it was a win against UConn, a loss to Oklahoma State close, ball went through the scoreboard, and a 16-1 loss on the hottest day that's ever graced planet Earth in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
I wonder who started that game. So
Uh,
Fisher would have started, then Waldron, because that was a big conversation going into that.
I can tell you they lost 16-1, and a guy named Edens took the loss.
Okay, Reese Edens.
Oh yeah, Reese Edens. I remember that guy. Yeah, Reese Edens took the loss in that game. UConn had the lead from the very jump. He probably
It was like 9-1 by the third inning. I think.
Probably started that game. UConn scored 7 in the ninth to make it look really bad, but it was a steady pummeling throughout they got a run basically in every inning leading up to that. 2021 was, of course, a win against Northeastern, a loss to Arkansas, a win against NJIT, a loss to a win against Arkansas, and then a loss to Arkansas. 2024 was a loss to Florida, a win against. This is the one that threw me for the biggest loop. This is the one that I didn't know. I forgot about this, and it was only 2 years ago. They lost to Florida in Stillwater, and then they beat who before getting mashed by Jack Caglione in Florida again?
Who would have been the 4 seed?
Yes.
In 2024.
Great question.
Oral Roberts.
Niagara.
Okay.
I absolutely blanked that out of my mind. And then last year it was a loss to Oklahoma, a win against Holy Cross, and a 17-1 loss against Oklahoma. So there's your recent regional history, by the way.
The run differential in that
In that third game
is pretty bad.
Yeah, it gets tricky on you real quick. So Evan Bland did a story this morning about some historical precedents and some historical context behind Nebraska's actual chances. He says this: among 80 post-pandemic regional hosts since 2021, 69 of them, 86%, entered Selection Monday with a top 16 RPI. Nebraska's RPI sits at 10 right now. He categorized each of those teams into generally 3 separate groups. Group number 1, poor record against good teams. These are their warts, their flaws. Poor record against good teams, around 500 in conference games, or vulnerable strength of schedule. If there was a knock on Nebraska, which there is less and less by the day, it would be the third category, the vulnerable strength of schedule, which is not as much of a factor as I thought it was going to be. I believe it is in the 40s. I'm looking at their RPI team sheet right now. So non-con, where is it? I think it was in the 40s last I saw it. But anyway, the strength of schedule part is not necessarily
not as big of a deal.
It's not as big of a deal as I thought it was initially going to be. Their average RPI in wins is 98. Their average RPI in losses is 60. And for whatever reason, my strength of schedule thing on my team sheet here is not updating as of this morning. But they are 9-7 in quad 1 RPI games. They are 7-5 in quad 2, and then there are combined 25-2 in quadrants 3 and 4 in their as pertains to the RPI. So, what are you curious about?
I'm trying to think of who the 3 and the 4 are.
Are you curious about the 2 losses in the 3 and the 4? You might be surprised.
It's I'm assuming a couple Big Ten teams.
Nope.
No.
February.
Oh, they lost to Stanford's not that bad.
Sure is.
Stanford
104 RPI. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. And then
on a neutral field, obviously.
Is Kansas State down there?
They are, but Nebraska beat them.
Okay. I thought they lost to them.
They had a neutral site game against K-State that they lost, and that one is a quad 2. They have a home game against K-State that they won. That is a quad 3.
Yep. That was a comeback win.
Louisville is the other one.
Which is wild because
those were your kind of marquee schedule games.
It's kind of funny because at the beginning of the year, we're like, whoa, Michigan State took it to Louisville, and then Michigan State ends up being trash.
Mm-hmm.
And Louisville also trash.
So they are 41-14. And not that these numbers necessarily compare favorably to the teams that they're going to be in the mix with as far as the hosting regional conversation. But I think the point here is that they do not look definitively worse than really anybody in that what do we always talk about? The sort of 10 to 18 or 10 to 20 range, something like that. Remember, top 16s get regionals. There was even a couple people asking, the Kendall Rogers of the world, like, hey, is there an outside chance that they could be a national seed, a top 8 seed, which I don't think that we're really in that category, but
one of the projections I was reading yesterday was their write-up involving Nebraska was like the real drama is whether they can move from 10 or 11 up to inside the top 8.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't see how they would, even with winning the entire thing.
There's too many teams with like 40 plus wins who play in the SEC.
It's like they're probably not going to jump past an Auburn or a Mississippi State, and that's kind of who you're talking about.
Georgia.
Yeah, and so it feels like they're more likely going to be on that 10, 11, 12, maybe lower down. I don't know. But
so I
North Carolina.
I wrote out that regional record as to ask this. 7-14 in the regional round, and not to skip over the Big Ten tournament. But like I said before, I don't think it necessarily matters a whole lot. They're going to be in a regional, and I think they're going to host one. Like I think there's going to be a regional in Lincoln in a couple weeks, which is really cool. With that being said, how much confidence do you have that this is the team to make it on to the next round? It will be the question, because ultimately you're going to get another top 25 type of team who could come from a variety of different backgrounds, and which background they come from is really interesting. I also want to add this, as far as this group is concerned, they're obviously, from a record standpoint and from a position of power standpoint, better position than 2021, right? You had to go on the road and, now, while people were not happy about Nebraska's placement in 2021 in the regional, because they were viewed as one of the top 2 seeds, and Arkansas was viewed as a pretty close to consensus number 1 team in the country at that point. I always liked that they, given the makeup of that team, I always liked that they went into that one, because they played with such a chip on their shoulder, and you just knew that they weren't going to be afraid at all. And like, they had the crowd going against them and all the, like, I always thought that worked for that team. And so it's been a program, when they have had success, it always felt like, yeah, they're really good from that spot. Backs up against the wall, nobody believes in us, that type of thing. That will not be the case here.
Right.
They will be a regional host. And so that dynamic is at least a little interesting to me.
Obviously, benefit of hindsight, knowing exactly how the games played out, et cetera, et cetera. I'm trying to think in my head how I would have ranked those teams, going into their regional situation. The team that I know that I was the most confident in was the 2019 group, and they lost to Oklahoma State on the aforementioned home run that went through the scoreboard, and then the just disastrous third game against UConn, where they basically lost that game as soon as they lost to Oklahoma State.
100%.
So that was a team that I felt the best about going into a regional, in part because of the circumstance. Arkansas was thought to be unbeatable, really, in 2021, and they end up losing to NC State in the Supers that year. And I didn't think. I like that Nebraska 2021 team a lot. I just didn't think that they had enough. It felt like you were going to need a lot out of Schwellenbach in a potential, 5 games or however many you would have to play there.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know if you could go to that well over and over and over and get enough result out of it. And then the other one I remember liking, I think it's because it's a year that I went to the most games. It was 2014. I thought that team had a chance too. Both times Oklahoma State regional.
Which one?
2014.
Yeah.
Like 2017, they won the Big Ten, but then the way they played in the tournament just felt like they weren't going anywhere.
I remember thinking pretty good thoughts about 14 as well.
That team had Bummer and Pat Kelly and a lot of those guys. They were good. It felt like they had a good chance to go win something. I didn't feel that great about 24. Certainly last year was like, hey, you won the Big Ten tournament, but I don't think it'd be a surprise regional win.
I don't know if Bummer was on that 14 team, but it was that group.
Yeah. I thought he was like one of their starters in the regional series.
I am looking at their roster right now, and I don't see anywhere where it's. Oh, there he is. Yeah, there he is. Yeah.
And so I guess if I was going to rank it in, I don't know that I feel as good as the 2019. Part of it was Waldron felt like he was a huge weapon for Nebraska, and he put him in position to win that game against Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Before they handed the ball off.
And so to your point, like some of it matters with like maybe your confidence level is directly attached. Yes, first and foremost, the draw, right? Who's on the other side? If it's Arkansas, then that is undoubtedly more terrifying than Kansas.
Which I am so prepared for the overreaction to that.
Yeah, there will be. And no, like Kansas, while that's not easy and Nebraska's lost to them twice this year, it just feels easier. It just feels easier if that's going to be the two. And
well, especially if Kansas is sort of backsliding into it.
That's a team that won the Big 12. It's like everybody knows is the second best conference in America or the third best conference in America. I suppose it's having a little bit of a down year, but anyway, like so that's number one. And the other part of it is that's dictating your confidence is how are you set up from a pitching perspective? And that is a little bit more of a question with this team, but you have the equalizer of playing at your home ballpark, in theory, if that ends up being the case. And I do think, as we've seen now, and I've mentioned many, many times in the show, it's going to have to be the offense. It's going to have to be you, man. Like, there's the Doctor
Certainly was this past weekend.
There's the Doctor Strange, all of the different scenarios, and it's like, hey, we got to have the one. And it's if the offense goes dead, you're dead.
Yeah,
that's the story here, especially if you're playing at your home ballpark and things like that. So I think it's a fascinating conversation from that perspective because there's very few things in the Big Ten era to compare this to. The type of success that Nebraska's having right now on the diamond. And so like all these teams have had their warts and certainly this one does too, but none of them have got themselves the opportunity or really even knocked too much on the door of being able to play at home and hitting it at it from
2021 is the only one where that was a real conversation.
I always felt like depending on the year, it was like, the draw is good. Maybe I could see Nebraska getting out of that. Now they're going into a world where it's very, very likely that they're going to be the favorite to get out of it. And they should. And so I do wonder about that from a mental perspective, and how they sort of handle that. I don't feel like this group has had to take on the role very much this year of I have my back against the wall and it's going to be really difficult for me to win this game. It feels like it's always been operating from a position of strength. After I guess you got those first few marquee wins in February, it just always felt like, they're going to be a train rolling downhill for a while.
Their tenuous nature had nothing to do with resume. It's that they would find themselves repeatedly in these games where a 7-run 8th inning would allow them to pull out of a self-created hole.
Yeah, and you do that
because their version of stress was not resume based. It was they had to do the Houdini act a handful of times.
And I think they're able to do some of those things because like. It's a simple, I'm way oversimplifying here, by the way, like you still have to do the actual things, but if you approach it from the perspective of we are the better team.
Right.
And the other team knows that you're the better team too.
Well, the other team knows that there's going to be the inning that ultimately ends up happening. It's whether they can just continue to shut it down just enough.
Can we make like 2 plays, to be able to stop this from happening? And most of the time, to Nebraska's credit, the answer has been no this year. So I'm curious to see how that all plays in a regional setting.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know the answer to that. Andrew writes in on Twitter on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. My brother posted on X that Nebraska's had a great season, but pitching is an issue at the moment. And my goodness, did he get crushed? Why can't you just be happy? Since when can't you have a critique on a team that you clearly could see the issues? Oh man, I would like to see Andrew send me the tweet. I'd like to see the responses to this. But I can imagine
we talked about that on air like the last few weeks where I think this is a good team. I'm just worried that they don't have enough pitching to get from a starter that's probably only going to give you 5 quality innings to the last few innings to get to Jayshon Unger, who's shown a little cracks lately, but he was nails in Minnesota.
Yeah, I always say this like. This is everybody. We have a tendency to be in our bubble a little bit here, and context is very, very important. So while it seems that Nebraska is dominating and they can come back from these games and ridiculous scenarios against Minnesota and things like that, at the same time they are not going to be playing Minnesota in the regional, in the NCAA regional, and probably not in the Big Ten tournament either. To be honest with you, they're going to be playing some pretty quality teams for the most part if they continue to go deeper into that. And so I think once your team gets rolling, you're like, nothing could ever go wrong. They will play at this level, and the results will be this forever. That's not always the case.
I just think the weird part is so much of Nebraska.
People are not interested in hearing it in a world where it goes bad.
I just think it's hard for me to wrap my head around the Nebraska teams that have broken through and have played in super regionals. Almost always have had terrific pitching. So it's like this, and they clearly had good offenses to go with it too. This feels like a team where, you just have to be comfortable knowing that it could be 7-5 type games a lot in order to do it. And that generally hasn't been the recipe of success for Nebraska.
Could a conference tournament run potentially help out your resume in that regard? I mean, it would have to be a finals win against UCLA. That would be my.
I think the only thing is that you could maybe get hurt with the wrong loss on Friday, but even that feels relatively anticlimactic.
Yeah.
I feel like they're in a very similar spot to where Nebraska basketball was, where you don't have to have the tournament mean anything. Your numbers sort of indicate you're a top 15 to top 10 to top 20, as you were kind of saying.
I think it's
just
range.
Whether the eye of the beholder views that you should be a host or not, more or less.
Yep. And most of them are going to just look at the numbers and try and make sense of it from there.
41 and 14, top 10 RBI, etc.
And like I said, like the numbers in the ancillary categories, like the non-con strength of schedule and the strength of schedule, aren't so bad that you're going to look at that and be like, oh my God, we have to really, really consider this. So I think they're in pretty good shape. I will say, just watching other college baseball, the outside of the top 4 in the Big Ten, so outside of Nebraska, USC, Oregon, and obviously UCLA, and this even includes teams that are playing pretty well right now, like Ohio State. Major flaws, major flaws. So once you get outside of that realm, like there's just better depth in other conferences, and so that will be taken into account once they make the selection as well. But I do think the Big Ten has that going for him this year, in that on a numbers base on paper, the conference looks a whole hell of a lot better. In actuality, it's just those top 4 teams, in my opinion.
I don't know enough about Purdue, but they'd be the only one potentially in the conversation. And even those top 4 teams, it still feels a little suspect. Even like, I think it's like if you tiered it out, it's like clearly UCLA and then Nebraska, Oregon, USC, but that all like
each of them have their flaws.
Right. But the fact that there's even a conversation that 3 teams could host out of the Big Ten is wild.
Yeah. I think a lot of them are being honestly helped by proximity to UCLA. That's
no doubt about it.
The numbers come in there and they help you a lot. We'll take a break. You guys have any thoughts on that? Let us know. 402-951-1620. Also tweeted us in the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed at Happer. We're back right after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. More of Happer Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. The Green for the Green 5K sweepstakes is still going on right now, powered by Benjamin Franklin Plumbing. You got one more day to get in on this. Goes through tomorrow at 1620thezone.com, so you could use the 5K and the 5K sweepstakes however you'd like it. But Green for Green, stuff's going to be greening up around here. Thanks to Benjamin Franklin Plumbing for bringing that our way. As always, we like to hear from you all, 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Here's Random Mike. Good morning, Mike. What's up?
Hey, something I'm curious about, maybe Schaefer might know this, the Moyer connection, specifically his dad. Jamie Moyer had one of the most incredible major league careers ever. Would you agree with that?
Well, I mean, he played for a long time.
Yeah, and he got to meet Connor Happer years before his son played at Nebraska.
That's true.
Going to Bread and Cup?
He was just walking around in downtown Lincoln. Yeah.
Amazing.
When was it?
Probably 2018 or 19, somewhere in that range. He was just here. He was doing like a salt dog. He was talking to the Salt Dogs or something.
Oh, I thought you said Wesleyan maybe in the past.
He was doing a camp of some sort. And yeah, I was just walking around downtown Lincoln. I was sitting there and I was like, is that Jamie Moyer? And then Jake Sorensen, who I was with at the time, was like, yeah, I think that's Jamie Moyer. So we followed him.
Yeah, because he had one of the longest major league careers ever with a fastball that never exceeded like 85 miles an hour. I mean, it was quite incredible. And he gave credit to this famous sports psychologist, Harvey Dorfman. Do you know the story there? Mm-hmm. And he wrote a book in honor of him, which I actually checked out of the library. And I'm just wondering his connection with his son to this team. And it's all about, I mean, there are many major league great players, including Jamie Moyer, that gave credit to Harvey Dorfman for them, like Greg Maddux or Doc Holly, was that his name, the pitcher for Philadelphia? He got a fantastic Pedroia that gave credit to this psychologist. And Jamie wrote a book in honor of him and talks about a lot of the things that helped him. And I'm just wondering if he has a connection to this team through his son of helping players be at their best, especially under pressure. I just wonder if you knew anything about that.
Interesting. No, I hadn't heard of that before, but I did know, Mike, that he's a pretty big, like, mental, like I watched some of his stuff now. He's got, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, he's got like some videos where he's, helping young pitchers kind of do the fundamental stuff and things like that. Like he is definitely a mental like process guy, which is very, very important. You can talk to any guy who's been, especially in the major leagues for that long. It's all about where you're at from a mental perspective.
Yeah, exactly. And, I don't think anybody has joined me in predicting both Nebraska baseball and softball making it to their College World Series. But hey, after that Ohio State weekend, did anybody think Nebraska had any chance of maybe hosting a regional?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they still had a chance. It didn't seem as likely, certainly, after those 3 losses.
And look, if you watch Nebraska softball over the weekend, the concern of the hitting, but the hitting's been outstanding all year. But to have 2 pitchers like that, this could be huge. But no, I just wondered if you knew of a connection with Jamie Moyer and this baseball team, because are they a great team? No, but they do a lot of things well, and they got a shot.
No doubt. Thanks for the call, Mike. Appreciate it.
Take care.
All right. No, I mean, other than Jamie Moyer being the father of Mac Moyer, that would be the only connection. But played from 1986 to 2012 actually in the big leagues. Last pitch at age 49.
And Mac Moyer was a junior college guy that came from San Juancito. So I don't know that there's any specific reason as to why it was Nebraska, other than they gave him the opportunity and recruited him the best. Looking at this book that Random Mike was talking about, with his trademark 3 pitches, slow, slower, and slowest, the left-hander Moyer is a pinpoint specialist whose 1-loss record actually got better as he got older. He pitched until he was 48, 49. Yeah.
49 years old.
Incredible. Nearly 30-year career in Major League Baseball. Like, that's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty
25 plus
consistently winning
seasons,
like
yeah.
13, 14 games
Yep.
for like 12, 15 years.
4,000 innings. I'm sure that's never going to get touched by modern day pitchers.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what the other point of that was outside of.
It was about the Harvey Dorfman, who I don't know much about. But,
there was another thing in there. Oh yeah, he mentioned softball, and how the offense went away. Maybe we could take a minute or two to talk about that, and then we'll get into it later, and we'll sort of bring it all together too. So they didn't softball didn't Nebraska softball, by the way, who advanced to super regional, did not bother scoring many runs, partly because they didn't have to. I guess I don't know that if that's specifically the reason why they didn't score any runs or they chose not to. But anyway, Jordy Fromm had a absolute shutdown performance in the winners bracket game, the first one against Grand Canyon, where she allowed just one hit and struck out 16. Got a little hairy in the I almost said ninth, in the seventh yesterday against Grand Canyon when they had the girl kick the ball and got hit by a pitch, which was one of the most amazing plays I've ever seen. Apparently you can do this.
Yeah, I learned entirely that that's a rule, which seems insane to me.
Yeah.
But, that whole scene was quite remarkable.
Yeah, apparently this is something that you can just do.
You just got to be in the batter's box.
If the ball is in the batter's box, you can just try and get a foot on it or some sort of body part on it, and you're going to get the base for that. And she was very, very, very happy on first base, jumping up and down with great joy when she the review successfully deemed that she was indeed hit by the pitch.
Meanwhile, like, there's the part of this where it's like, hey, if you hadn't been hit, you have Jordy Fromm makes it very difficult, but you have the opportunity to be the real hero.
Yeah.
We're runner already on.
I'd rather just try and cheat my way.
You advanced him by just getting hit or kick saving a softball.
Mm-hmm.
Ingenuity, I guess.
Oh, you're going to have something weird happen. I mean, like, as that was unfolding in the seventh yesterday, I'm like, oh, they got two guys. They got two on. Like, I don't know. This could get weird. And I was like, actually, nah, it's not going to get weird. She's going to strike everybody out.
The next person.
So on the year, she is 19-4 with a 1.15 ERA, and she is 163 and 2/3 innings, 225 strikeouts. Once again, 225 strikeouts in 163 and 2/3 innings, and 28 walks on the year for Jordy Fromm. Once again, 19-4, 12 saves, and then not to be outdone by Alexis Jensen, who's 24-2 with a 2.45 over 145 and 2/3 innings this year. And they got excellent performances out of both this weekend to advance. Pretty over. Like, we could talk about this in depth a little bit later, but like, they're on to the regional final. They're going to play Oklahoma State. It's going to be a bear, I think, this weekend. Obviously, you have the local connection with Ruby Malin on Oklahoma State. Kind of oversimplistic, but can Jordy Fromm almost single-handedly, with some help from Alexis Jensen, lead them to a national championship? It is going to end up being the question here. I'm not convinced that you can do it that way, but right now you're in the situation where it is literally one game at a time.
Well, and it's basically lead them in that sense that if the offense doesn't pick back up, because one of the things that they exploded this year, you got contributions out of a lot of other players beyond Fromm and Jensen. If you're not getting that, if it's like last year's Super Regional against Tennessee where everything's just at a premium runs wise, then you're going to need those shutdown efforts from those pitchers.
Mm-hmm. So. But you're walking the tightrope.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, at least this year you have Jensen, whereas last year it was all Fromm.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a different look, a different pitcher, different style. So that definitely puts him in a stronger position than a year ago, where Fromm almost carried them into the CWS.
I think it's really difficult. Like I can't really think of a whole lot of scenarios where something like that can actually happen.
Like Nebraska faced a
like
pitcher
one
last
person
year.
Can just take you all the way. It completely change the face of your team and just take you wherever you want to go. Basketball, it can happen. We've seen it happen there. Like there's one dominant player. Softball is such a team sport. Baseball is such a team sport. And softball's a little bit easier because you could throw the same pitcher in theory every day. I mean,
and they can Otani it where they can also hit as well as she does.
That is quite the weight to carry around.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's sports movie-esque the one player can just lift the entire team. Now, it helps that Nebraska softball has talent around her and that the local softball, I mean, Jordy from here as well, Alexis Jensen from here. Like softball, again, another sport where Nebraska produces well internally inside its state for talent. And that can't be discounted. I mean, so much of success for these other programs has been a great run of in-state talent.
That's
Sticking
true.
around at Nebraska.
Jordy Fromm seems one of one, though. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this. I feel like she's kind of unique.
We'll see what Alexis Jensen's career is, but it's going to take a lot to be in that level.
Yeah,
no question.
All right, let's take a break. We got the headlines coming up next on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Happer and Schaefer rolls on the first day of summer. Doesn't it feel like it? I'm
Sure
picking
does.
up good vibrations. That's what I'm doing, even though it's cloudy. We just got hit by a storm and it's in the 50s right now. Joey, we got headlines. What do we got?
Yes, we do. Students at Maine High School accidentally fed dirt. Not from Connor's dirt lawn.
That was not part of the headline.
No,
for
it's
the
not.
record. Accidentally fed dirt. All right.
This is going to have a high,
Me too.
bar for someone to clear to get us past the dirt story.
Check out what else we got.
The second one, this was translated from a Norwegian website, but
I'm interested.
14-year-old boy stole and drove a bus for the third time in 6 months. 6 months.
While
3 times.
while interesting.
Yeah. Dirt.
I think you got to go to the dirt story.
I figured.
I think the bus story could win on another day, but it ran against, a tough one here.
From Waldoboro, Maine, several students at Metamac Valley High School were accidentally fed dirt this week. A public notice from the school in Waldoboro on Thursday says there was, quote, an unfortunate accidental incident during the empty bowl supper at the school on Wednesday. The notice says earlier in the day, students working with a teacher in a classroom had baked potting soil as part of a science experiment to sterilize it, with plans to later test plant growth. The soil was placed in a baking dish covered with foil and set to the side of the stove area away from food items for the dinner. However, in the dash to deliver food to serving tables for the dinner, the dish of dirt was accidentally included. The statement says that 3 students briefly put some of the soil in their mouths, believing it to be a dessert item before immediately realizing that it was dirt. The soil was then removed from the serving tables. Quote, this was a completely accidental situation and absolutely not a prank, the notice says. And that is your story.
That is incredible.
Could Connor pull something off with his dirt lawn and pond?
I don't want to get rid of the dirt. I mean, I have to have the dirt. The dirt is important to
Could you make
Right now you
something
have
out of what
sludge.
you
I
have?
just want there to be something on top of the dirt going forward. And I am interested in what they would have learned in the science experiment of baking the dirt. Also,
Did they season it?
great question. It's a great question.
What seasoning do you put on dirt?
I mean,
That
A
is
little thyme, a little garlic.
I
Put some
suppose
oregano on it.
I suppose
Oregano,
you
bring
go
some
back
color.
and you're like, you have to use the ovens in the kitchen to bake the dirt. It's
Now
the
you gotta
only
add some
option.
spice.
But there used to be like home ec classes.
Sure,
you know, you just use those ovens. You're going to stay far away from the kitchen.
You could probably make some brownies.
You have to use the ovens to bake the dirt.
You have to use the ovens to bake the dirt. Oh, in
They
theory,
couldn't have wheeled in an easy bake oven to try this.
you could have done a variety of different things, but I figured you would have taken the dirt back to the classroom to study the dirt.
This town sounded familiar, and I looked it up. I drove through it on my way to Bar Harbor.
What interstate?
It's not on an interstate; it's on Highway 1. in
Highway
Maine.
1. Joey, are you familiar? You like what you hear?
I love what I'm hearing. I'm trying to think what part of Maine because there's not a whole lot in that.
I can tell you if you would like.
Yeah, I would love to know.
It's right on the coast.
Oh, it's right on the coast.
Right on the
Okay.
coast. So
Okay.
you leave Portland, you go
I'm-
along the coastline, not up the interstate.
Okay, so I was probably in the area.
Is it near former city of the day, Orono?
No,
No, it'd be-
Orono's a different part of Maine.
Yeah, it's more in the central
Yeah,
area.
this is definitely more coastal. It's along the Atlantic. So, don't remember anything else about it. I did not stop
Okay.
in Waldoboro.
Well,
did
you
not
coulda-
eat any of the town's
I
famous.
was going to
dirt.
say you could have got some dirt. Kent
Well,
writes in.
Hope you're
You got to
hungry.
lean into this bit though. If you're Waldoboro, right?
I think so.
You
Dirt
gotta have
Town, USA.
Dirt food trucks opening up.
Oh,
and,
that'd be good.
you have dirt days where people come and they combine dirt with food.
You
and
could
sell
actually
them.
make the brownies look
Yep.
like dirt and then make them be good after that. That's not
change
a bad
your
idea.
mascot name to something dirt related.
Kent
Dirt
writes in.
bags.
He says if there was something you could put on the dirt to have grass like sod. Oh, trust me, Kent. I'm waiting for it. We're working on it.
It is not actively your decision
That
to
is
not
not.
have grass.
It is not. We'll take a quick break. Those are the headlines. We'll be right back with the 8 o'clock hour after this on 1620 The Zone. 8 o'clock on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, Zone Radio Network. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, and Joey Colbert with you this morning. You could still enter the peak playoff giveaway. NBA, NHL playoff season happening right now. Playoff season, you could watch the big games in style with a $250 Twin Peaks gift card, which is a tremendous place. We were out there on Friday. Great times. Matt brought his new shoes. And
it reminded me of that meme. We talked about this the other day. It reminded me of that meme, the guy holding the phone, showing something to the woman.
Yeah,
he was doing the same exact thing with the waitress. Very interested.
Well, she asked, according to Matt.
He was showing off his shoes.
Hey, Matt, why do you have this big Shields bag? I don't know. Do you want to see?
You like pull the tongue out of the shoe and like he offered to model him?
He opened the whole thing, opened the box.
Check out my Jordans.
They not only took the box out of the bag, opened the box.
He opened it. He opened it like it was the briefcase from Deal or No Deal, revealing how much the price was. There's no music in the background.
So what did he buy? What were they?
Just like shoes, just regular shoes.
He's been on this, like he was talking about it during the afternoon crossover. He's worried about the arch support that he's getting. Like,
he showed up near the end of the show.
This was a very important in his life buy. No wonder he was sharing it to the waitress at Twin Peaks.
John writes,
I'm really sad I missed that we left before this happened.
Yeah, you would have. I'm sure you would have picked up some very interesting intricacies about it that I was just like, I don't know what's going on over there. I'm going to stop paying attention. John writes in, did he walk to Twin Peaks or did he get a second Uber? He called a friend.
He got a free ride.
He called a friend.
He phoned a friend?
Yes. Bigelow,
50-50. He phoned a friend.
Our dear friend Bigelow showed up. He was there, and then I'm like, where's Matt? What's going on? And then Matt calls Bigelow. He's like, hey, pick me up. I thought I was gonna be able to walk from Shields to Twin Peaks, which it's in the same like area, but it's not really close.
It's a very lengthy walk.
Yeah,
I mean, it'd be like 5-10 minutes. Probably.
I would think it'd be a little longer than that. Like, I guess was it 12 blocks difference basically, and it's cut down a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
about a half mile.
Because Twin Peaks is up close to 180th Street, so yeah, it's probably about a 10-minute walk. You know, he's hobbled because
that's right. I forgot about
his injury,
and so he calls up Bigelow, who's sitting right there trying to enjoy his dinner and his beer, and he's like, "Come pick me up from Shields," and he did.
Wow. What a nice guy, that Jacob Bigelow.
But at least he was able to show off his new
shoes. Unbelievable.
If Bigelow's listening right now, let us know if Matt showed you the shoes that he bought. Like, did Bigelow get to see him before the waitress did?
I think so. Yeah. I think people
did he
asked.
just get in his car. He's like, I gotta show you these.
What'd
shoes.
you get? You know? Yeah.
What color are they?
They're like red and white.
Okay.
They're Jordans, I think, but they're not like.
Check out my Jordans.
He said he wasn't going to buy, he didn't want to buy shoes for their look. He wanted to buy shoes for the
he did not do that.
Wow.
He bought like high top J's. Yeah.
Superficial Matt.
I know. Can't get away from
Needed the arch support.
John
was pitching him on the King Monarchs or the Air Monarchs, whatever it is that John wears.
Oh, the dad shoe, the mowing the lawn shoes. Yeah.
Matt was passing on those.
Jason writes in on Twitter, I love that Matt's Chicago just came out long enough to need to get bailed out. I mean, exactly. He got to walk from place to place. He can't handle it. Here's a comment from YouTube. So with the 9th RPI, are we pretty much a lock for the regionals to this point where we don't even need a pulse in the Big Ten tourney, or did the Haymarket Bombers got to lock in yet? Okay, so in a regional, they will be. Yes, that's good. They could lose each of their remaining games 400-0, and they will still make a regional. Host a regional, I wouldn't test it. You know,
you wouldn't test losing 400-0.
Yeah, I try to. If you're gonna lose, I would try to lose by less. That would be my advice. Or you
lose in an inconspicuous way, is what you're saying.
You could potentially win if you wanted to too. But I don't know that it moves the needle a whole bunch, given we're talking about a 56 game sample size here. And we're talking about 2 at the end of the year. So I believe it is the common opinion, the held opinion of this show, that there will be a regional at Haymarket Park.
Yeah, my percentage has never been higher than it will be for
Okay.
whatever today is. So,
Butt liquor, our prices have never been lower. Our percentage has never been higher. I agree. I think they're going to host. Joey, are you ready to say it?
I'm locked in.
Okay.
Nebraska's hosting a regional.
Nebraska's hosting a regional.
wow.
And then we can finally have the answer to the question of, will Nebraska host a regional? And the answer will be yes.
And then we get to ask the new questions, which is, how will people feel about the ticketing process?
Oh
boy.
Yeah, I forgot about
Oh boy.
The follow-up that we really care about.
So does that happen next week after the like, this is going to happen in like a 3-day period? Yeah. Oh man.
I don't know when
I was
Super
really
Regional tickets go on sale. Like, I don't know if that's happened
Probably
yet.
that same week.
Yeah. Well,
Or
so
that next week after the
No, I
regional.
meant for softball, because you'd be going through that right now.
Oh, it'd probably
too.
be today.
Yeah,
Because
I
I-
would think today.
Was hearing from people over the weekend who had donor access and they bought tickets for other people just to help them out.
Oh,
So, no, it was a good story.
well, I don't know. It doesn't sound like a great. It sounds like using your.
Well, because they're limited, so even season ticket holders who had 4 seats would only be able to buy 2.
That's good.
So they bought 2 for these people, so all 4 of the people that normally go could go.
As long as the season ticket holders get in there,
Well,
we got to make sure that they are.
as long as the people who want to go can go, like that's what.
And I think now, I don't know that I would have heard this one way or the other, but I didn't hear much about the ticketing process or the I wasn't able to get in type of thing after the actual, after like Tuesday of last week. It was like, it's certainly none while the games were happening or after the game.
I think it mostly worked out.
Everybody who wanted to go wanted to go. And yet again, Connor Happer was right. It worked itself out. I imagine that'll be the same for baseball.
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea if the coverage will be more. I just don't know. I don't know what to expect in terms of overall numbers that they would do for hosting a regional too, or like what. There's really not like a capacity for that. It's however much they want to pack in the berm.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it'd be the maximum, whatever it is.
It's going to be a lot of people.
Yeah.
If they end up hosting.
People get their tickets. By the way, bonus softball topic. I saw some people toss this around over the weekend. Is softball more of a fun watch than volleyball?
So
it's not, by the way. Wrong.
Incorrect. It's an interesting conversation.
Volleyball is very, very good.
Volleyball's great.
Yes.
I think softball, when played at a high level, is also great.
Not as good as volleyball when played at a high level.
Right.
In my opinion.
I would probably go volleyball 1, softball 2. But I think about to like when I was a high school sports reporter, like covering high school softball was significantly better than covering high school volleyball.
I think what makes it okay. All right.
So like
the general standard.
Yeah. And so a lot of it is like if a lot of it has to come in from this conversation. If you're watching the best of the sport, I think it's going to be volleyball. If you are just watching,
that is true. I have pretty much only been exposed to the best of the sport.
If you are watching a lower level of each, it would be softball.
Interesting. I was going to attack it from this angle. This is why I think that volleyball is and like Schaefer said, some of what you've seen is obviously going to dictate your opinion on this. And admittedly, I haven't seen a lot of poor volleyball in my life, like point blank period.
I sat through a lot of it in 2010.
And so I think
at the high school level,
I think the proximity to baseball for softball, like you're comparing softball to baseball. And if you do that, it's like, whoa, this is just fast paced, smaller baseball. Like, cool. Like, this is really, really fun. It's an exciting watch from that perspective. It's shorter. It's like things can happen on a dime and a hurry.
The funky movement of the pitches,
yes.
Like all of that motion, all
like
of that is
one swing. You don't even have to like hit it very hard to get it over the fence, and stuff like that. Like it's a fascinating sport to watch because crazy bleep can happen in softball, but it's the same thing in it just takes a little bit longer, obviously, for the crazy bleep to happen in volleyball. But I just think the athleticism just trumps everything. And
a long rally in volleyball with a lot of saves and
So
a lot
good.
of, that you're not going to get that with softball. It's like that quick burst that you're talking about.
Yes.
That it's so fast paced. I would say this, I would take either over women's basketball. Like if you're stacking
Agreed.
that. So I think softball sits just behind volleyball on the high level scale.
Okay.
But I would put softball ahead if the level drops down of total quality.
The long rally in volleyball, I would say that the long rally, and if your team gets the point at the end of it, if it lasts, however many
And there's
times.
multiple diving with just getting
Yes.
the hand down.
Yes. There is no higher likelihood in sports of fist bumping, like, Tiger Woods, like,
Oh, okay.
than after your team gets that point. That's what I've found in my travels over the years. It's involuntary. It's involuntary. You go and you say, "Ah!"
Because it's just this constant emotional build.
Yes.
And then you get that release.
Yes.
Whereas pretty much any other sport, you're not constantly in that motion. The only thing I can think of is if you're in this basketball realm where it's back and forth, and then your team just rips off like a 6-0 run.
That's a
real
great
quickly.
one. Yeah.
But it's the back and forth nature of it, which you're never going to get really in baseball or softball because of the way that sports controlled. Football, the only way it works is you get the really weird, like touchdown, kick return, touchdown.
Or you can do
touchdown.
like sack. I mean, the first drive against Colorado a couple years ago.
Sack.
Sack, pick six. I mean, that's as good as it gets.
When your defense utterly just destroys someone in a 3-and-out, that might be a heavy.
Yeah.
Fist bump tears should be a thing.
I agree.
Well, we do need to figure something out for tomorrow. I don't know if that works.
So,
but
hardest fist bumps that you could I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to workshop that.
That one probably a little too niche.
Probably, but we could go niche. We have before.
But no, when you put this on the rundown, I was excited about this conversation because I also there's definitely an element of prisoner of the moment, but also Nebraska volleyball is so big. I just think a lot of it for me is like when the level is really, really good, the volleyball back and forth is really hard to beat. The power of the kill shots, like just incredible.
It's incredible to watch. So that's where I stand in the situation. So on softball, on baseball, to bring it all together, just a little update to the old season-long standings here. We are indeed looking at the best Nebraska athletics year in a very, very long time. Let's have the tail of the tape here. Volleyball wins a Big Ten championship and goes to the Elite Eight. Men's basketball has head and shoulders their best year ever, finishing as the 2 seed of the Big Ten tournament and a 4 seed of the NCAA tournament, and making it to the Sweet 16. Women's basketball still finds a way to get into the NCAA tournament and win a game, even though it was a play-in. Wrestling finishes 3rd in the NCAA championship. Softball is a legit national championship contender. Baseball is going to be a regional host and a top 16 team in the NCAA tournament at this point. And the topic that always comes off of this, the topic that everybody always wants to discuss and that only, that our brains just default to is, well, where's the football team? And what does it mean for the football team? I choose to take this in a different direction. I don't want to explore that for the 679th time this year. How about this? Is there any common thread amongst these teams that explain why quite a lot of them now are having their best seasons in a long time or ever? Right? Like in softball, it makes sense. They have Jordy Fromm. I mean, not to oversimplify it, like I said a little bit earlier. Okay. Why is baseball having their best season in 20 years? Why is men's basketball having their best season ever? Why is that all happening? Why is volleyball their most talented they've ever been? I mean, they probably very easily could have won a national championship last year. They just
felt they should
didn't end up doing so. Why is wrestling so, it feels like every year they're in the top 5 as far as the national championship is concerned. They've taken a step and a level up. Why has this happened over the last 3 or 4 years? And it's built to this. And is there any common thread amongst all of them?
The closest that I can come up with, and that weaves a few different things. Now, Danny Busboom Kelly doesn't fit with this, but it comes off of it. It'd be continuity with a coach that is ultimately just good. They're getting great coaching in all of these sports. And then all of them have been there a long time. Some of them as long as Rhonda Revelle, which is multiple decades. Mark Manning has been there a long time.
Right.
But
now it's
Right.
blooming.
Well, and it wasn't some of it
Because they were good coaches before. Right. Yeah.
Some of it for Nebraska softball and Nebraska wrestling, like they've been good. They've just now hit like this extra level.
Yeah. Softball's in overdrive right now.
Jordy Fromm is a huge piece of that. I think a lot of it is they've hired good coaches and they've stayed out of the way of those good coaches. Like there was rumblings and grumblings of, hey, is this the peak of what Mark Manning can do a few years ago when Nebraska was consistently a top 15 team, but wasn't necessarily dominating at the championships or all these other things in a conference that's really, really good. And you watch like Penn State goes from whatever they were in wrestling to hiring Cale Sanderson, and they're the greatest, wrestling program, period. So I just think it's a continuity of sticking with coaches, and then the resources have never been better for Nebraska athletics because of all of the Big Ten money. The Big Ten is a big part of this success, as much as some people hate that conference and its existence. I don't know that you're having this level of run in the Big 12.
There's no doubt.
Having all of those resources that are brought in through the football money and everything else is trickled down with all these other sports. And it's just, these are all good coaches. Like every one of those teams has a really good coach right now. And I think that's a big part of it, the stability and the resource.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, answers the question. And for the record,
I also think you're on a great run of in-state athletes. Like we were saying with Jordy Fromm,
Sure.
You have Britt Prince in basketball. Wrestling has had Antrell Taylor's a national champion for you, along with some other guys that they brought in from the outside. Obviously, Sam Hoiberg was a big part of what was happening for Nebraska basketball.
It doesn't really count.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that one's a gift, but I think that matters. I really do. Like the in-state aspect of it, certainly for a lot of those sports, men's basketball, probably the least of them.
Yeah. I still don't know that it answers the question though and I'm not saying like, I think that's
well, yeah,
those are great
there's
responses.
Never going to be a smoking, what is it? There's never going to be a interlocking fingers that's going to answer this entirely all by itself.
Why is it happening all at the same time? It is.
People hate this. I think Trev Alberts helped set Nebraska up for a huge level of success before he left to go to Texas A&M. And that athletic program has been humming since he came over and cleaned up Bill Moose's mess. I think getting them to a better financial point so you're not wasting money and you can provide as much resources as you can, combined with having a bunch of veteran coaches that have been in these positions for a long time. I mean, the shortest of those coaches is either Fred or Amy Williams. Danny Busboom Kelly, but again, that's coming off of John Cook, who was there forever. So I just think it's a combination of all of those things. It's really, really helpful.
He was an athletic director who cared about the entire picture, right? Which is important. And now, like, I always felt like his biggest impact at Nebraska, Trev, we're talking about, his biggest impact was, cutting the fat, basically. Like, there was a lot of extra stuff and expenditures and all these different things and staff going on, and
people on retainers that weren't necessarily being used.
You got it. And Trev's deal was like, what? One of his best quotes was, college football doesn't have a revenue problem. It has a spending problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's always how he looked at things. He was like, we can do the same thing that we're doing right now,
a lot of people mad
and get a great output and not spend half the money that we're spending right now.
And then have more that we could dump into what we actually need.
And so I think that really got Nebraska, and this is in a very broad general sense. Like that got them thinking, about, all right, how do we make the most out of what we have right here? How do we do the best with what we're given? And now you're in this really fun, sweet spot. And I'm glad you mentioned Trev, because it's the direction that I was going to go to. You're in this really fun, sweet spot where you have the mentality in general, once again, broad general, in the athletic department of like, we're going to make do with what we have and we're going to make the best with what we got. but also the resources now to back it. Because Dannon is Mr. Money Spender. I mean, he's pouring all of it. And it's
But
not.
it's because
I'm
they
not saying
have
that
it.
in a bad way. I'm saying that in a very good
because
way.
they were able to amass it in a way that they
Right.
hadn't previously.
That's what you want. That's what you want the ability to do. And baseball needs a new clubhouse. Fire away. Football, all this other, whatever it might be, investments in your program. Not just talking about infrastructure stuff, but the NIL is at the requisite number for all these sports than what it needs to be, and certainly against their contemporaries as well. And so I just think you're in a really fun sweet spot. Like an athletic department that still has the mentality of we can do more with less, and in general, once again, but also they have more.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's weird.
Do you think it matters at all? Because I think this is another big part of it too. And this is where I was always super critical of Bill Moose. He came in and was only expected to be or only cared about the football program. Nothing else mattered. Whereas Trev Alberts cared about the entire athletic department from every, when we're talking about, he's line iteming everything from air rifle to women's tennis to who this person is that's on retainer from the athletic department to just come in and give speeches a couple times a year, all of these different things. Like, he really, really cared. Bill Moose was brought in to be the football AD, and that's what he was.
Yep.
And that's all he cared about. And that's why it was a big deal when he showed up to a basketball game and didn't turn the lights on in his suite.
People forget.
And someone Spider-Man.
Well, that was only part of the reason it was a big deal.
It's a portion of it. But
the other part was different.
Yes. That part was covered in the Crab Creek Chronicles.
It was.
Because Nebraska hired a PI to follow him in Chicago.
Apparently.
So it's, I just think I don't think that you can really understate the effect that Trev Alberts had. I think Troy Dannon has continued that. Troy Dannon gets to experience it from the other end of where Trev was, where Trev had to kind of go in and trim it all back.
Mm-hmm.
And now Dannon sort of gets to be in the build-esque.
That's the position that you want to operate from. And we'll have a time. We won't end up talking about this today. We'll do it tomorrow. But I was reading Sam's
that gives me time to dive into it.
Yeah, Sam's rewind, and he always talks about this, and we always talk about this. Like, he wrote about like football and what kind of program you want to be, and you want to be a national program. And Nebraska's obviously said, hey, we want to spend all the money, and we want the best NIL. We want to be, we have to beat Ohio State, right? We have to beat Penn State or whatever it might be. And I don't really get that, especially considering there's a formula out there that works, and it's just like you can't skip steps here, man. Like you can't. And so we'll dive into that a little bit later. But I just think there's a pretty clear, like, we're gonna do more with less. We're gonna do absolutely everything we can with what we have, and whether that's from a money standpoint or from a roster standpoint, we're gonna get really good. And then here comes the investment.
Yeah.
And then and maybe it organically worked out that way, or maybe it was just a coincidence in terms of the timing, because this is when all the money has come in from the conference. I think there's probably a little bit of both in there, but I think clearly there was sort of like a mentality shift. And like you said, coaches have been around for a long time now. And it's sticking with those, and I don't know. It's a pretty good example. And obviously all this is aside from the football story.
Yeah. There's also this that stands out to me. They've chosen to invest in success everywhere where they haven't punted on a program. Like that was a big conversation.
Hired a new gymnastics coach.
Right. That was a big conversation in the NIL sort of discussion of like, okay, you can't feed to all of these programs, and they aren't necessarily, but they haven't scaled back, or it's not like they're not attempting to be successful and stuff, which I think is remarkable.
Yeah.
Really.
There's
because there's definitely Big Ten programs that are like, you know what? We don't care about
There's SEC programs out there who are trying to cancel their own tennis programs, but then had it brought back for because the donors were like, we'll pay an X amount of dollars. Weird times, man. We'll take a break. Tim Verghese is up on the other side. We'll get to some recruiting and more coming up on 1620 The Zone. All right, we welcome you back. More of Happer, Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer with you, and we are joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Tim Verghese from inside Nebraska. Tim, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are we doing?
Good. Did you enjoy how do you take in severe weather? What's your plan?
Just kind of hang out at the house. We got we have a pretty good view outside the of downtown from our apartment. So yeah, we were just kind of staying in and keeping an eye on the storm.
Okay. So, but you're not like, are you actively going outside like a Midwesterner, or are you
I
like?
feel like Tim would be a bit of a storm chaser for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm gonna step outside and keep an eye on the situation for sure. I'm a Houston guy. I remember, it was when Harvey hit and when I was in high school, that was one of those where everyone was kind of inside, but me and my dad were from the Midwest originally, so we were outside keeping an eye on things as the storm was rolling in.
Okay. Well, last night ended up being a little more hype than what did they say? A little bit more hat than cattle, I suppose.
All hat, no cattle.
Yeah, a little bit more hat than cattle as far as the storm was concerned. Last night.
The Strickland Chimay of storms, if you will.
Exactly.
This is well done. That's a good scale.
All right, Tim, in recruiting, I mean, it feels like, as you've written about a lot now over the last, your last couple updates here, Nebraska is certainly, turning their attention to and getting prepared for not only camp season this summer, but in preparation for that, some offers going out for future classes, 2028, sort of in beyond, keeping the checking in with those guys. I suppose when you look at what their attention is at this very moment, where do you go first as far as Nebraska recruiting is concerned?
Yeah, I mean, right now, the focus is 27, trying to get these OVs set. I mean, we have a few targets out there still. They need to get OVs lined up with. They're hoping to get a visit from. And really this month, I would say, if you're a traditional recruiting fan who's been following this for some time, OV season has always been exciting. Late May into June, and how fast these dominoes fall. They're falling faster than ever. I'm sure people have noticed across the country. You're seeing some of these dominoes fall before even OVs take place, because May is about negotiations. A lot of these in-home visits, a lot of these back and forth communication between coaching staffs and players, athletic department. I would say not athletic departments, but like GMs and players, and
money
parents
people.
Money people. That's where we're at right now. It's a lot of these negotiations, making sure, and things are kind of lined up on that end. And so you have some of these surprise decisions. I mean, just this morning we had a 4-star offensive tackle who, for a long time, was seen as a Penn State or Notre Dame lean, suddenly commit to Auburn. We've seen a few of these surprise decisions over these last few weeks. I think more are still to come, leading into OV season and then through OV season. So you have two different schools of thought emerging through this. You have some guys who, have been looking to make decisions in June, have had official visits set for some time now, but are now considering making a decision early. And so Nebraska's kind of battling that with some guys they think they need an OV from to get over the top and finish things out. And so they're balancing some of that. And then there's some of the balance of, okay, there's some guys that, for a long time had been considering a spring decision, were not planning on taking official visits, or if they were going to make official visits, it was going to be after they'd already committed. It was going to be, a few other visits elsewhere to make sure they're doing the due diligence. And now some of those guys are now considering, okay, well, maybe I want to sit back and wait and make a decision till July. So you have somewhat of a battle on two fronts, in the sense that you have to make sure you're in a good position with the guys that you feel good about that are now considering maybe accelerating a decision. But you also have to make sure that your numbers are lining up. You have to make sure from a financial sense you're pacing yourself in some of these recruitments that are going to stretch out past OV season into July, because those negotiations are going to be ongoing. And so you have to make sure your numbers are right. You have to make sure things are right. And so for Nebraska right now, I mean, last week it was about hitting the road, meeting with some of those top targets. I mean, we talk about guys maybe working on accelerated timelines. Timmy O'Leo's 4-star offensive tackle At very, very high on Nebraska's offensive line board. He visited 3 times this offseason alone. He's going to be back on campus for an official visit June 19th through the 21st. But Florida's trying to push push that timeline up, trying to get him to make a decision, where he's considering now a decision ahead of OVs because of the recent push from Florida. So Jeep Wade went out there to go visit with him last week at his spring game. You have Bryce Williams, top 4-star cornerback target that I have a prediction in for Nebraska to land. He's going to OV June 5th to the 7th, but he's got a recent offer from Oklahoma that's got him considering the Sooners. He's going to make an OV out to Oklahoma the weekend before Nebraska. Oregon just offered. But this is a recruitment that feels like it's winding down. He's got over 45 offers to this point. So, everyone feels like they're chasing Nebraska here. But in a timely sense, Addison Williams was down there late last week to go meet with him, again, ahead of OVs. And then you also had Mekhi Williams. Nebraska's working to flip him away from Florida State, a 6'2 safety with some versatility to play a few different positions in the secondary. Addison Williams, while in Florida, stopped through the meet with him. So that's where things are at right now. I'm really just checking in on some of these key targets. And then this morning, we saw the first 2028 in-state offer go out to Justin Parrish at Omaha West Side. That is that's a sign of, I think, things to come. I don't think he's going to be the last in-state 2028 offer. I put up a story back in April. I just reposted it on my X account of 5 in-state prospects in the 28 cycle. I could see landing an offer from Nebraska. It's a good group. It's a good group of 28s in state. There's a few more I could see definitely adding an offer from the Huskers here in the coming weeks. Parrish was one I thought would have to camp to earn it, but he's seen his recruitment take off as of late. Kind of makes some sense for Nebraska to extend that offer now.
Tim, I want to ask you about a position where Nebraska already has 2 commitments at wide receiver, because there's a couple guys where it seems like they have a legitimate chance at. Either one would be the top wide receiver if Nebraska were to add either of Matthew Gregory or Khalil Taylor. The fascinating thing to me, it feels like Nebraska's kind of been in a bit of a roller coaster of each of these guys, where it's like, okay, they're in the picture, maybe they're out of the picture now. Now they're really back into it, and then they've got to fend off the rest of the crowd. Is there a world where they end up with both of these receivers? And if not that, which one do you think they have the better chance of between Gregory or Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think now coming out of the weekend, I think there's a shot at Nebraska has a shot at both. That said, I think there's going to have to be something of some work to do in both. I mean, both of these recruitments aren't done. I put in a prediction this last week for Gregory. So again, at this point, I would say Nebraska's better positioned for Gregory. That said, he's got OVs to Virginia Tech, who I would keep an eye on. He's got a lot of good relationships with James Franklin and that staff from the time at Penn State. You want to make it out to UCLA as well. That's a program that recently offered, but their program can't really be counted out with what they're doing on the recruiting trail of any recruitment. And then so with him, there's some work to do in that one, but I still like Nebraska. They're going to get the last OV there. With Taylor, that was one where it did feel like a decision could come before OV season. Now he's planning to make a decision that first week of July. July 6th, I believe, is the date he's aiming for. This was one where Nebraska's been somewhat of an afterthought, at least compared on a national scale compared to some of the other contenders. Penn State has been seen as the favorite. He was once committed there, backed off amidst their struggles on the field last year. Was one of the first places he visited after decommitting was Nebraska. And he's maintained a good relationship. He's been back to campus since, has an OV set for June 12th through the 14th. But this is a recruitment that's gotten very tight. Colorado's in the mix. You have Indiana was in the mix. I don't think they're as strongly in the mix anymore. Georgia's in the mix. Alabama recently offered in our schedule to get him on an OV. But this feels like it's coming down to Nebraska, Penn State, Georgia, and Alabama. I would say those 4. And over the going late last week and going into the weekend, did some checking around. Of course, he tweeted about Nebraska. That was a bit surprising again, considering what we've heard and checking in around that recruitment, where Nebraska has felt like they've been in that recruitment, and where the national pulse has been on that recruitment. Was a little weird to see a pro Nebraska tweet from Taylor. Did some checking around on that one. Nebraska's really sinking their teeth into this recruitment right now. There's a few staffers working on, from the heel shorts, Anthony Johnson, who played at Pitt, is familiar with the area. Those Pennsylvania recruits really well. Nebraska staffers are sinking their teeth into this recruitment right now, heading into OV season. And this is the right time to do it. I mean, again, like when you have a decision now where, again, at one point it looked like he was going to make a decision in May. Now it's looking like July. They have to pace themselves. This is the right time to heat up, and you wonder a little bit with when Nebraska's kind of pushing their chips in on this recruitment. Wonder a little bit of the timing coming off of missing on Ahmad Hudson. Look, I think Nebraska wants to add at least one dynamic pass catcher, like make a true splash in that receiver tight end room here this cycle. And with missing on Hudson, that doesn't mean they're going to quit. I mean, look, they're back down there last week to go check on him. So they're not giving up on Ahmad Hudson, but they want to make a splash at the pass catcher position. They want to be able to surround Trey Taylor with talent, and bring in talent with Taylor that he's familiar with. Khalil Taylor is somebody he's played with on the 7-on-7 circuit before. And look, again, there was a point I thought Nebraska was only going to be adding one more receiver in this class. They have 2 commits at the position already. Thought they may be just looking for one more. I now think there's a world they could take 2, especially if it's, I would say right now, it's Matthew Gregory, Khalil Taylor, then Isaiah Alvarez is the other wide receiver target scheduled to visit 19th through the 21st. 2 of those 3 I can see being in the class. And if Nebraska comes out of OB season well positioned for all of them, I think they're going to take the best of the 2, whoever they feel like those are, and move forward. But right now, I feel like they're well positioned to add 2 more receivers to the class.
Another tremendous update from our dear friend Tim Verghese from Inside Nebraska. Tim, we will not talk to you because next Monday will be Memorial Day, and so enjoy the day. Although, as Schaefer can attest to, I'm sure there will be some recruiting news that inevitably pops up because it's a holiday.
Probably.
So enjoy that. But we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Thanks, Tim.
Yep, of course, sounds good.
Tim Verghese from Inside Nebraska. I was gonna add, it's a sort of an interesting topic. We kind of ran out of time, but like the idea of the money at the end of the recruitment just sort of causing these late shifts is really fascinating, and the domino effect that comes off of that.
It's sort of like resource management, and this is where you hope your GM and your recruiting department.
Can you go out there on the recruiting trail and tell the truth?
That, and it's also like, okay, you didn't get Ahmad Hudson. Like, where is the money that was budgeted for that going to be spent? Like, do you go back to a Jordan Agbanoma and you're like, all right, kind of what they did in the portal. We didn't get the defensive lineman we wanted. We're beefing up on the offensive line. Like, that money's going to Paul Mabenga, though we already got Brendan Black and Tree Babalade. Let's go get a 3rd offensive lineman. It does make me wonder how that money, because Ahmad Hudson was likely going to get your largest NIL commitment.
Like on the entire team.
Your facial reaction underscores how
not close.
There's nobody else that I could even think of. Even Trey Taylor, I don't think was going to get the amount of money that Ahmad Hudson would.
No, you would have had to be in a different realm.
That money's got to go somewhere. Now, I don't know that it's, one of Matthew Gregory or Khalil Taylor, but you spread it out across 3 other targets that are high on your board. Suddenly their interest in you also, goes up too.
Yeah. Interesting. It's a topic worth discussing with Tim as we go on throughout the next several weeks. Let's take a break. We will come back and round out the hour after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, see if I can squeeze in a rant here. So I saw in reaction to the NFL schedule coming out last week, the NFL.
Someone says schedules?
Yes, Joey. Someone said schedules. The NFL was they were asked by people, hey, do you think it's weird that you guys are now playing on every single day of the calendar from September until January or February? And they were like, no, this is not weird. And the reason why it's not weird, according to the NFL, is this. This is from Hans Schrader, the executive vice president of media distribution for the NFL. Quote, I think you look across the games and the landscape and the schedule, and certainly it's evolved a little bit, but the bulk of the games are still on Sunday. And again, we go back to look at the data and the information that can make us smarter. We were up 10% last year. We are at our hugest season, I think, since 1989. Every one of our partners was up. So, I think as we look at balancing, the collective distribution of our games, we think there's opportunities to build on that in a selective way. Yeah, selective. And we've seen when we do that, our fans tune in and watch it. And we're giving more football to NFL fans. And that's a good thing, according to, once again, the vice president of media distribution for the NFL. So here's my rant. This is not the point. This is not the point. Of course, people will watch it. Of course, people will watch the NFL whatever day you put it on. I would include myself into that category. I'm not boycotting the NFL because they're playing on the opening Wednesday night of the season. Of course not. Of course the ratings are good. But the American public's counterpoint, I speak for the American public's counterpoint should be, why is this the only thing that matters to you? Of course you can get away with it by saying we're going to have awesome TV ratings, because you are going to have awesome TV ratings. Literally nothing will stop you from having awesome TV ratings. And they can spread it out over any day of the week. There was a COVID season where they played a game on Tuesday at 2:00 in the afternoon, and it got great TV ratings. Somehow, some way, these people have tricked Americans, us, hardworking, blue-collar Americans, into their way of thinking. And they only think one way. When you allow them to think about money and TV ratings as if it is the only thing that matters, it gives them the free pass to do whatever the hell they want.
Good luck with that, Dan.
People will keep watching and the money will keep coming in. And I say it's time to stop them. It's time to start thinking differently. Why? Because there's no, the problem here is there's no recourse. There wouldn't be any recourse. Football is on Wednesday. I'm mildly annoyed by it because I have to watch another night of football. But am I going to watch another night of football? Of course. I love it. I love the NFL. It's great. You're going to put a great game on Wednesday night? Awesome. Put Josh Allen on. I'll watch it. Put Josh Allen on any day of the week. I'll watch it. You put Josh Allen on at the worst time you could possibly imagine. I'm going to watch it. Would you watch Josh Allen play football on Tuesday night at 3:00 in the morning? I would.
Yeah.
I watch Josh Allen play.
I'll watch them play in Uzbekistan.
But they have tricked us into thinking this is what matters. And it just it doesn't to the fan. It shouldn't to the fan. And I think that has trickled into a variety of different areas of sports.
Yeah, I think
rant.
I don't know how many of the fans care about ratings in any way, shape, or form. A lot of it just sort of comes down to...
They go along with it because the executives go along with it and they say, look at our TV ratings. And then the humans who are watching the games, not the cyborgs who are making these decisions,
sure.
The humans are like, yeah, but the ratings are good. Why is that something that I need to care about?
Yeah, no, you don't need to care about it. And the reason that they care about it is that the ratings will be better than literally anything else that they put on. So they can just get away with it. I don't know that there's any way to stop it. As you said, there's no recourse.
No recourse.
I think I'm bothered less by it than you are, though I don't know that I particularly need Wednesday night football, but I will watch Wednesday night football.
Mm-hmm.
Not even out of a sense of obligation, out of pure general interest.
It's the same reason Big Noon Fox exists. They've tried to convince you that Big Noon Fox is a great idea because it gets great ratings, but it makes the experience worse for everybody. There's no doubt about it.
Does it?
Oh yeah, I'd rather the Big Ten play their marquee game at nighttime. Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess I think of it, and again, I'm in such a weird position with college football because most of the years I haven't been able to watch games in the way that everybody else does.
True.
I would assume some of it is just about spreading out the schedule. So if you are someone who wants to watch a bunch
Well,
of
that's
different
why
games,
they get the TV ratings.
Yeah, so, I mean,
they're going to get the TV
Yeah.
ratings either way, though.
agreed.
So let's take a break. If you have any thoughts on that, let us know. 402-951-1620. Sorry, quick rant. 9 o'clock hour coming up next on 1620 The Zone. All right, 9:00. Woo!
Nine.
First day of summer, 9:00. Can you believe it? We've
Yeah,
already
flew.
arrived. It's summer and it feels that way outside. That's what everybody's saying anyway. The ratings for summer are very good at this point. Saw this over the weekend. This is our version of content aggregation. So we appreciate this I saw it from Pick Six Previews, but it was from The Next Round, which I believe is another content aggregator that aggregates. Anyway, we've aggregated several
We're
times.
going to go through the content ecosystem.
Yeah, I would like to be able to track some of these stats back to their original like finders, but it's just so difficult.
Well, we're in a
these
world
days.
of aggregators who aggregate aggregators.
I think so.
Yeah. We've moved post aggregation.
In
Is that
our
what it would be?
postmodern aggregation. I think our lane here is aggregating those aggregators.
Yeah. Who sometimes aggregate us.
That's true. And then we create an aggregation circle of life.
It's a tunnel. Actually, it's more like a cyclone. It's just spinning.
Aggregation tunnel is pretty funny. It sounds like Magic School Bus.
Really. You could do a pretty cool Magic School Bus book using aggregation.
How's the song go with Miss Frizzy? Aggregation tunnel, the Magic School Bus.
It's the Magic School Bus.
Thank you, Joey. The aggregation tunnel. Up
Man.
on the aggregation tunnel.
That is something I'm excited
That
for
could
my
be
kid to get into.
That could be an open.
I read a lot of those books, watched a lot of that TV show.
Magic School Bus was awesome. Anyway, here's the stupid thing. If you're watching with us on YouTube, team appearances if a 24-team college football playoff existed since 2014. There are many schools represented on this. 80 different ones, in fact, would have made an appearance over the last 12 seasons. How is this decided? I don't know. That's why we get lost in the aggregation tunnel. But you see 80 schools, none of which are Nebraska.
Yeah.
0.
They only had 3 winning seasons in there.
People might say, well, 2014, they weren't good enough. They wouldn't have been good enough to make a 2014 playoff at the end of they did beat Iowa at the end of the year. But it got me thinking. So, by the way, as Pick Six Previews puts it, and I can take this stupid aggregated content off the screen now. 7 Power 4 teams would not have made a 2014 playoff if the 2014 playoff had been going for the last 12 seasons. Boston College, Cal, KU, Maryland, Nebraska, Purdue, and Rutgers, which is great. I mean, Purdue was in a Big Ten championship game in that period of time.
Right.
That's about the most notable accomplishment for any of those teams.
Yeah, I mean, KU had their brief start to the 2023 season.
Is Purdue winning the Big Ten West in 2021 or 2?
Aiden O'Connell year 22.
Okay. I'll go with it.
Yeah, 22 because it's a year that Nebraska lost to them in the Trey Palmer game where he just caught long touchdown passes.
Yeah. He had like 300 yards receiving that game.
Maybe the most entertaining loss of the season.
Is Purdue winning the Big Ten West that year the most notable accomplishment of any of those 7 teams?
Can you go through the teams one more time?
Boston College,
Okay.
Cal,
Okay.
Kansas,
Okay.
Maryland, Nebraska, Purdue, and Rutgers. It's the only time that any of those schools has appeared in a conference title game.
An incredible amount of Big Ten representation there.
Nebraska, Purdue, Rutgers, and Maryland.
Which sort of shows you that the upward mobility of the conference is a lot tougher than it seems like it should be.
It's definitely hard to
those
get good.
teams have just really done a great job of being bad.
I think there's
Probably that.
There's some ineptitude in
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Definitely in that list, ineptitude.
Among those 4 in particular.
Yeah.
I mean, how many coaches
I
at
was thinking
those
that
4
too.
schools? So Nebraska's had 4. Nebraska's had 4 in that time because Bo was 14.
Yeah. So I'm thinking Maryland.
Oh my God. This would be a terrible thing to look at. Maryland.
DJ Durkin.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
That was bad for a few
It
reasons.
was bad for a variety of different reasons.
I don't think who
So
else was there.
Randy Edsall.
Okay.
Randy Edsall was the coach in 2014. DJ, as I called him, DJ Dunkirk in 2016 and 17. Matt Canada in 2018.
Forgot about Matt Canada.
And
Wow.
then Loxley ever since. So 4 each for Nebraska and Maryland.
Because that was he replaced Durkin when Durkin was let go.
Yeah,
in
that
the
was like right
offseason.
before the season started
Yeah.
too.
Good Lord, he was a bad offensive
How many
coordinator.
Purdue coaches?
4 probably.
Well, this goes back
Walters,
to
Derek
terrible,
Mason,
the worst coach
Daryl
ever.
Hazel.
Daryl Hazel.
Walters. Who was in between Daryl Hazel
Daryl
and
Ha-
Brom?
Brom, Ryan Walters, and now Barry
Barry
Odom.
Yeah.
So there's 4 for them. So we're at 12 coaches among the 3 schools, and then Rutgers. Rutgers might have the least.
Chris Ash
Chris Ass, yes.
and Greg Schiano.
Is that it?
There's got to be someone else in there.
Yes,
Kurt
you're
Flood.
missing Kyle Flood.
Kyle Flood.
Kyle
Flood.
Flood.
Okay.
So Kyle Flood was the coach in 14 when this thing started. Got fired after 15. Chris Ass for 4 years, and then Schiano for the last 7.
The way that you say Chris Ash, it sounds like you're about to say Ash, and then you just that S just extends and never becomes a
Chris
sound.
Ass.
Very
So
nice.
so 4 apiece for Nebraska, Maryland, and Rutgers. No. Purdue.
Yep, and
And 3 for
Rutgers.
Rutgers. 15 coaches.
So let's keep going with this.
Ugh.
Kansas, go look at that list.
Ugh.
It's going to include Les Miles in there. You're going to have David Beatty.
I totally
Um,
forgot Les Miles was on the Jayhawks.
Yeah.
This is horrific. So starting in 14, that was still the last year of Charlie Weiss.
So you have what a list.
So Charlie Weiss, David
Oh,
Beatty,
my.
Les Miles, and now Lance Leipold. So still only 4.
Wow. Okay.
Still only 4.
So we'll see if we can find one with 5. Cal would have Justin Wilcox and one other coach, I think. Is he Tedford still at that point?
Oh my God. 2014 Cal was coached by Sonny Dykes,
Dykes.
Justin Wilcox,
2.
and then Tosh LaPlante. So
Yeah.
Cal's
Cal's
got
only
off
at
easy.
2. They're at the low.
And then Boston College.
They would have had.
They've had Bill O'Brien for a long time
They
now.
had Bill O'Brien for a couple years. They would have had Jeff Jadzinski.
Oh,
They
I remember
would
that
have
guy.
had the guys being dudes who went out to Colorado State.
That's right. What was his name?
I can't think of his name.
Steve Adazio.
Steve Adazio. Very nice.
Steve-
So that might be the 3 there.
So
And they had the coach who's now the head coach, Jeff Hafley.
Steve
old
Adazio
Jeff.
was coach starting in 2013. He went
Yep.
through 19. Halfley and then Bill O'Brien. So 3 for Boston College.
Okay. Was he just an offensive coordinator there? You remember
No, Jeff Halfley. I said
Oh.
Jeff Halfley. Right?
Oh, I was thinking
Yeah.
Jadzinski or whatever.
Oh, no, that guy doesn't exist.
He did something with Boston College.
Maybe he
He was just a
coordinated something.
coordinator.
Yeah. So just 3. This is crazy. So 3 for Boston College, 3 for Cal, 4 for KU, 4 for Maryland, 4 for Nebraska, 4 for Purdue, and 3 for Rutgers over that period of time. That's over 12 seasons. And we wonder why these teams wouldn't have made the college football playoff any times. That's crazy. Let's see. Sean writes in, what about Auburn? Now, Auburn wasn't on the list because they would have made a playoff in this
Right.
period of time, but it would be funny to look at.
Then I had Malzahn, and then Harsin and Freeze.
We still
and
had a
then-
Gene Chizik here.
Yeah. Well, no, Chizik would have been done because it would have been Malzahn by 14.
You're right. Malzahn took over in 13.
Right, because they played in that national championship
Yes.
game.
Malzahn took over in 13, and then Brian Harsin and Hugh Freeze, and that's it.
Yeah.
Wow. Auburn, the pillar of stability. And they showed up in the national championship
That's what
game.
people say about Auburn stability.
And then who's their guy now?
Alex Galesh.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I like the hire. I don't like it for Auburn. I think it would have been a really interesting hire at Oklahoma State or at Virginia Tech or something like that.
Yeah.
Less so at a place like Auburn.
By the way, did you ever figure out that Jeff
He was the Boston College head coach in 2007-8.
Oh, nice.
So he knew he was a Boston College head coach just a decade before I needed
Your
him,
brain always goes back to when you were in high school,
apparently.
I guess. Yeah, that's what Ryan Delaware said that Jeff Jaginski was the Boston College coach 20 years ago. 20 years
Feels
ago.
like yesterday.
So there you go. There's some really nice ineptitude. But here's the topic that I thought of when I saw this list. And then I thought back to, would they have actually made it in 2014? And then it turns out they wouldn't have. But they beat Iowa that year,
Mhm.
famously. Are we about to go into a world where Nebraska and Iowa is basically for like a playoff spot every year? I mean, that's obviously the hope. That's on the front end, right? If Nebraska holds up their end of the bargain, which Iowa has mostly held up their end of the bargain over the last, since Nebraska's been in the Big Ten.
How many times
they
for
would have
Iowa?
they would have been playing a playoff spot like a handful of times, right? On the last week of the regular season,
I think at least 8.
8 times. Like
that's my guess.
We're talking about since Nebraska's been in the Big Ten, so since 11. Well, I guess we're only going since 14 on this list, but
6 times on that list.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So are we going to go into a world where Nebraska and Iowa is for
like
a playoff
play-in
spot,
game,
which is like really fun? I mostly hate everything about this playoff expansion, but making Nebraska Iowa more meaningful in that way is very, very fun.
There can only be one.
And that's remember, only if Nebraska holds up their end of the bargain, which they have not done, famously.
It would be, in theory, these teams are going to be sitting around 8 wins or 9 wins in these types of seasons that you're thinking of here. So, yeah, you could be in potential knockout game, play-in game for one or either. And then in the rare years, it could be a playoff preview of sorts if they're both really good. Nebraska clearly has to raise to get to the level of an Iowa.
Not like that far, but yeah, they got to go up
The
a couple.
consistency of it more than the actual
Exactly.
the ceiling of that too.
I don't now on my college football purist brain doesn't like it that game and rivalry games in particular get college football playoffized. Like I don't like that on principle and in theory.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it needs it.
Sure.
Like I like rivalries for the sake of rivalries.
Different than if you viewed it as the winner of that was likely the winner of the Big Ten West? Now that was rarely ever the case in this game.
Right. Right.
So,
no, I don't know. I like divisions.
It's been fascinating to me because that game has meant more than it really should in a variety of ways because Nebraska would either be at like 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm. They've been playing for a bowl game.
One of those two teams is playing to win the division. And it was Nebraska twice. Twice, basically 2012 and 13. Around 2014. I think they maybe had a chance, or 2013.
Well, probably
no, they didn't either of those years. So only once for Nebraska. For Iowa, it was several times. Yeah. And then you had the very rare 2015 where Iowa is undefeated, and Nebraska had a chance to end that. There's only
been a couple times where it's meant like nothing, where both teams had the same records and they were both like 7 wins going into the game. Like I think it's only happened like once, or something in that ballpark. Well,
there's just been a lot of weird years where it's like Nebraska has a chance to take Iowa completely out of the Big Ten picture,
and to the point like that hasn't really affected the game. Like the game has felt special, which I think that's how it's a rivalry.
Because the hatred is definitely there.
Yeah, it just burns right through all that stuff.
Yeah.
But now
it helps when the kicker is constantly running off the field on a walk-off field goal, for
blowing kisses,
to remain the same,
doing windmills and all that crap like that. Yeah, he's going crazy. So now you add the element of the potential college football playoff into the conversation. I don't even know what that looks like. Does it enhance it? Does it take the magic out of it? I don't know.
I would just like to see what it looks like if Nebraska is also playing good football at the same time.
I get that. Yeah.
So the closest is 2014 and 2024. Those are the 2 times.
Yep.
And Nebraska both of them featured incredibly bad coaching at times.
Mm-hmm.
Parents,
they won one of those games.
Punting to DPE. What a horrible decision.
That was a bad take by Kirk.
Very bad.
Bad take. And then he, a decade later, plus he went out and hired an 87-year-old
Tom
Moore. Ryan and Delaware writes in, is the Iowa rivalry equivalent to Missouri or Colorado? I mean, I don't know. Like, it's a good time to look back in retrospect. And
I think it's definitely equivalent to Missouri.
Like people always said, well, it's got to mean something. It's got to mean something. And it obviously has taken on a very, very different light because Nebraska has been responsible for it not meaning anything for the majority of the times that these two teams have played. In fact, almost all of them to this point. And still, you could come up with the argument of it has to mean something, but it actually doesn't. It very clearly doesn't. They don't have to be playing for anything, and it's still.
I think it still means something.
Yeah, it absolutely still means something.
Would you say Missouri is the most comparable because Colorado had higher highs in that rivalry with Nebraska? Missouri a few times was like a top 10 team, but never like a national.
I don't think it's quite as like culturally embedded.
No,
like
that's fair.
I think people from
Missouri
Nebraska,
has much longer history,
right?
Plus, there's a literal trophy for that game for the like innocent society of both of the universities.
That's right. Yeah,
the bell.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess there's a trophy for the Hy-Vee thing.
That's
Heroes.
well, I think
Yes,
it was
the Heroes
Shields or High. Is it back to Hy-Vee?
Is
It was
Shields?
Hy-Vee.
Is it Shields now?
It was Shields at one point. I think
Wow.
it's Shields now. It was Hy-Vee, and then I went to Shields. Maybe
I think
reversed.
it's Hy-Vee.
Okay. All right. I'm going with Joey on this.
Yeah.
But I'm like it, it's just in the DNA, Nebraska and Missouri, like there's a political thing in there and just like how people
Sure.
go about their business and stuff like that. I think it's less that way with Iowa. More of the Iowa thing is just like territorial. Like you have to live with these people and they have to live with you.
Yeah, well, there's also you're hitting on this too. Like some of it with Missouri is just sort of the viewpoint of who those people are, whereas the Iowa people are largely the same as the Nebraska people, and that's part of why the hatred is there.
100%.
So, yeah, that I get.
Not going anywhere.
That I get.
All right, just imagine that world where first of all the Nebraska-Iowa game means something, and second of all, it's for the college football playoff. We'll be back with Michael Bruntz, and we'll finally get a definitive answer to will Nebraska host a regional after this on 1620 The Zone.
Broncos country, let's ride.
The Bronx is back in town. The Bronx is back in town. I said the Bronx is back in town. The Bronx is back in town. The Bronx is back in town. Bronx is back in town. The Bronx is back in town. Bronx is back in town.
Michael Brooks, Husker 24/7 on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone.
Now, before we ask the question of all questions, as we welcome in our good friend Michael Bruns from Husker 24/7. Hello, Michael.
Hello.
Do you know the current sponsor of the Heroes Trophy game between Nebraska and Iowa?
Is it Hy-Vee still? Or did they get out of that game?
Hy-Vee's out. Shields is out.
It's Shields out. Is it some kind of agriculture implement company?
Yes.
Is it Acres?
It is close to Acres. It is Pioneer.
Okay. Pioneer Implements.
I don't know. Aren't they just like a seed?
It could be.
Well, so my apologies. I think it's just like a seed, company. Which, yeah, we were debating on whether Hy-Vee or Shields was the sponsor, the current sponsor of the game, and it turns out we're both wrong.
Shields, that was kind of a short run for them, wasn't it?
I think so. It was not more than just a couple of years. What were they the first one, and then it became Hy-Vee?
I thought it was always Hy-Vee. It felt like for about a decade you'd get like the smiling Kirk Ferentz sign when you'd walk into a Hy-Vee here in Lincoln.
Yeah, maybe I'm making up that Shields was ever a sponsor. I don't know.
Were you sitting with Bo Pelini when he was asked by the student reporter from Iowa about his favorite things about Hy-Vee, and he went on he gave like a longer than usual Bo answer, and it was because he really liked the meat department?
I was there. That was those are the good old days where they were
sitting at tables,
conference to sit there for 2 hours and had to answer everything.
Was that when he got asked about Sharknadoes? Was that same one?
I don't know.
Wasn't the same kid? I know that.
It was. Yeah, that was probably the best answer he gave during those entire 2 hours, because it was later in his Nebraska tenure, from what I recall.
It was the same summer where he kind of drew a little heat because he was talking down some of the corporate sponsors that Nebraska has, like Fairberry brand hot dogs. He was talking about red hot dogs. I think he gave some thoughts on Runzas and some other things.
Oh no!
And then he finally gives answers, and it's not what anyone wants.
You can't do that these days. You cannot talk about the corporate sponsors that way these days. And coaches know that, Bruds.
You basically got to be like a NASCAR driver. Like, you got to wear like patches now for that stuff. So
until one day somebody comes along like Ricky Bobby, and it just is a blank card that says me on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need. Somebody to just stop the madness.
We need Ricky Bobby. That's
Ricky
the
Bobby
takeaway
to
here.
us. All right, Bruds. So baseball over the weekend, a sweep. It's never not interesting with Nebraska baseball, but the common perception right now of the Big Red in the sport is that they are one of the top 16 teams in the country. Are they in position to host a regional?
Yes.
Percentage?
I'm over 80. Over 80.
I thought he was going to start with a 9.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where they're. I mean, like, when you just kind of list off, like, you would have a 41-win team with, what are they at, 9 quad 1 wins?
Yep, 9 and 7.
And that's not enough to host with a non-conference strength of schedule that I believe is in the 50s, with 0 quad 4 losses. Basically, they've beaten everybody that they were supposed to. There was no quad 4 landmines. It would be the upset of upsets, I think, if they are not hosting. So, the game. The comeback in game 2 in Minnesota was really important, I think, for all of that, to keep all that together. But I don't know. You got to give them credit for picking themselves up off the mat after that Ohio State series, because, I mean, they've really finished with a flourish here, and they needed to. I mean, we probably talked about it. There was, no margin for error after that sweep at Ohio State, but they've gotten it together and put themselves in a good spot. And it's funny, like, you guys look at the way that things kind of fell for the Big Ten tournament. I mean, it basically played out exactly how the coaches hoped, where you've got the 4 teams that are, thought to be in the NCAA tournament, multiple hosts. They're protected through to the weekend. You've got Michigan and Purdue that all of a sudden have to play their way into the NCAA tournament, having to play games. So it's set up really nicely, I think. But yeah, I think I would consider it a pretty bad upset at this point if Nebraska's not hosting a regional.
So, Brunts, like, as you consider who could be coming to Lincoln if they do end up hosting, if it ends up being Arkansas, would you want that from a narrative perspective, or does the concern of all the Chicken Littles that would come running out because it's Arkansas outweigh it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It would be unfortunate, I think, in some ways, that the storylines would kind of overshadow the regional in some ways. I mean, it is kind of a delicious storyline with the connections and everything else, and the way that 21 played out and that kind of thing.
Hey, Dave Van Horn's probably near the end of his career too,
Yeah. Well, and this is an Arkansas team that's kind of not thought to be the typical Arkansas team.
They've gotten hot though lately, right?
They have been, and yeah, I saw that Baseball America had Cincinnati coming to Lincoln, which would be kind of an interesting draw for both teams. I don't know. I mean, and it kind of, I guess, depends how the kind of 15, 16 nose seeds kind of shake out with who comes into the 2 seed. But yeah, I mean, Arkansas there'd be a lot of storylines there for sure. And that's kind of, unfortunately, when you're in like the 13 through 16 seeds, you're going to draw pretty good too. And just with the way that the SEC's been this year, there's a number of teams there that probably fit that bill that could come in to Lincoln, or Kansas finds a way in, or something like that.
Brunts, how much is this week at the Big Ten tournament? Actually, how much urgency do you think Nebraska will approach this week with?
I think a lot. I mean, I think, certainly Friday, Friday, depending on who kind of comes through. I mean, you're either going to get Ohio State or Michigan, I guess Washington or Rutgers, but I think it's probably going to be Michigan or Ohio State. So you get a potential rematch against Ohio State there. I mean, I think that gets your attention. I mean, I think just to kind of feel good going into what could be a very long weekend if you don't win there, you need to get that first one just to kind of feel good about things. And then, with the way, you've got 4 teams that are protected through, that are pretty good teams that I would hope would get your attention if you're a competitor. And Nebraska's the 2-time defending champs in this event too. And you're going to get a huge crowd all weekend there. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of urgency there. And fingers crossed, just from talking about narratives. I mean, let's say you get Nebraska and UCLA in the final with a huge crowd. I mean, that seems all right to me. So I think there's going to be a lot of urgency, and the fact that Nebraska kind of gets to line up its pitching the way that it wants, I think that helps a little bit too with everything. And so yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going there for a short stay just to kind of move on to whatever the NCAA tournament's going to be. I mean, I think they're going up there to win it. And there's a lot of guys on this team that have won and dogpiled in Omaha before and know what that's like. So I think they want to get back and do it again there.
Brunts, we saw on Friday Nebraska baseball with another absurd come from behind win. In a year full of them, do you have a favorite in terms of their like late inning comeback heroics this year?
I mean, that one was pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think that, if you're putting a number on it, I mean, I think that one was probably like a 10. the scale of comebacks this year. The USC one was kind of, just completely dead in the water, facing one of the best arms in college baseball, and then you come back and win it on a walk-off bunt and an error. I mean, that kind of felt pretty appropriate. Trying to think, there was the one
Auburn.
There was the Auburn one. There was even one against Maine, right? Like they had to come from behind big time against Maine. I mean, that one.
K-State.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them.
Penn State. I mean, they had the Penn State one at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think probably the Minnesota one's the biggest though. And I don't think that's just recency. Like when you talk about like, okay, you're basically on the doorstep of a potential host. You know that you probably have to sweep that series, and to come out and do that in that fashion. And it's, I don't know about you guys, but you also need like stupid things to happen sometimes in comebacks like that. And, you get a run in on a balk, you score the go-ahead run on a wild pitch, like, just stuff like that, where it almost kind of feels like you're a little bit of like a team of destiny, to make that comeback. So that one, it was kind of like, all season you felt like Nebraska's offense, it's like inevitable that at some point they're going to, kick it into gear and score some runs. But that one felt like it was, a little bit touch and go more so than they've had this year in a season of comebacks like that.
Well, maybe that plays to your advantage when you were in the spot that Nebraska has often found themselves in a regional, which is in the winner's bracket game in the 7th or 8th inning, and the game is very, very close. And in the past, it has just not gone very well before. This team has a little bit of a different streak to them, Bruds. And we were talking about that sort of mentality a little bit earlier. If you're playing at home and you are, in that spot, which you're planning on being again, maybe this is the team that gets them over the hump.
It's interesting though. Like if you actually look at their recent NCAA history, like they have not actually been in that situation a lot. Like they have not been on Saturday looking to go 2-0 very often.
Well, just the twice, which was significant.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think this is the thing that this team has kind of hung its hat on all year is they're going to play for 9 innings, which we've seen. And it's just a really competitive group that's really comfortable in late inning situations. And that's, whether that's, needing to score runs late to win, whether that's, Jay Sean Unger coming in and having to get big outs in tough spots. I mean, it's just for whatever reason, this team it just feels kind of made for those moments, and they've kind of delivered again and again. And you're going to have to do that over the next few weeks here because there are not a lot of blowouts in the NCAA tournament. There's not a lot of blowouts, when you're playing top 25 teams in the Big Ten tournament. So they're going to have to draw on all that, and certainly, having an offense though that can kind of, score runs in bunches when they have to or need to. I mean, that's definitely an advantage that more recent Nebraska teams maybe haven't had.
That is, unless no blowouts unless you're in the comeback game after losing the winner's bracket game and then coming back and you have to play UConn or something. I don't know.
UConn was lying in the weeds for them. They were rested, and I think I would need to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure that morning in Oklahoma City it was
800 degrees,
25 degrees.
It was the hottest day I've ever experienced on planet Earth. I'm dead serious. I've never been at a hotter sporting event in my life.
If you host, I think the regional host that day was the surface of the sun. That's where they played it.
That's right.
Incredible.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Hopefully your hospitality has been good. Thank you. Sincerely, the surface of the sun and the great people of the sun. All right, Bruns. Great stuff as always. Appreciate you. Have a good week.
Yep. See you guys.
Michael Bruns, Husker 24/7. So hot. So hot. There's nothing to do.
Yeah.
Watch all the runs get scored and go home after that. Bad times. And then Erstad quit. Well,
essentially.
Retired. Yeah. Whatever it might be. All right. We'll take a break. We'll be back with our bracket sim and get out of here on 1620 The Zone. All right. We welcome you back. More Happer Schaefer at 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. J-Man writes in, might as well be walking on the sun. That is a common occurrence on the Creighton baseball playlist before the games, as is Michael Brunson's The Boys Are Back in Town.
Good old Thin Lizzy.
Mm-hmm. We do not have the Joey version that plays at the Chuck Box.
Unfortunately, but I think
Should slip that in sometime.
if there is a Nebraska sports media celebrity baseball game, then that would be his walk.
I keep hearing about this. Is this a thing?
I was just throwing in a random.
I heard nothing about this.
Somebody out there is throwing out feelers some media thing.
Well, I know nothing.
This would please Theo greatly because all he wants to see is the media fight each other, which it's kind of exciting. I have to be honest.
Nebraska media celebrity boxing.
Everybody wants to start a beef, you know.
Do they? You don't want to start a beef.
Absolutely not. I do not want to start a beef.
Yeah.
I have no problem throwing weird, random, thinly veiled shots at a beef.
Okay.
I like doing that from time to time.
Beef hunting.
I don't have any beefs with anybody at the moment. I don't think.
Beefless.
I don't think I have a beef at the moment.
I am beefless. I'm vegan.
Do you and Matt perpetually have a beef to the point where it's not even really a beef?
Pretty much. It's
just a constant beef.
Feels like it's more on his end than your end.
I would agree too.
Impossible beef.
Yeah. Impossible beef.
I was forced to embrace it.
To the pair ratings we go, where we have a bracket in front of us. Nebraska set to host the Lincoln Regional as the number 10 national seed with Oklahoma State. Is Oklahoma State the new Texas A&M and they can't avoid them anywhere?
Could be.
Virginia Tech with a funny logo and Florida Gulf Coast. That's nice.
Whoa.
The Big East representative, by the way, they have now as Xavier. It changes every day. By the way, we never got to this. What happened over the weekend in the Big East? Creighton lost 2 out of 3, and there was a 3-way tie. So Creighton was the odd man out of the 3.
They just needed to do it once.
Well, they could have made it. If they would have won, it would have actually made it a 2-way tie. It would have kicked Xavier out of the 3-way tie, and then would have been UConn and St. John's. Anyway, St. John's and Creighton on Wednesday to start off the Big East tournament, just as it was last year. Let's simulate this bracket. I have Nebraska.
Oh boy.
Winning the Lincoln Regional and losing to Auburn on the Plains. Another trip to Auburn where the Buckies will be open and rolling.
I had Nebraska winning the regional and losing to Cincinnati in the Super Regional.
I'm the same as Joey. It is a Connor World Series.
Thank God.
A very Big 12 heavy World Series.
Big 12? I thought that conference was down this year. Is
West Virginia,
in it?
Cincinnati, and Kansas all in the Connor World Series.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Georgia over A&M for the title.
I have Kansas in mine as well.
I have 5 SEC, Cincinnati is the lone Big 12, Oregon State, and then Georgia Tech. Georgia over, of course, Texas A&M in the championship game.
Your sim loves Texas A&M. My sim loves Georgia Tech.
I have like the same sim as Joey, basically.
All right, I'm going to the projected bracket now. In the projected bracket, Nebraska's hosting the Lincoln Regional with Arkansas.
Oh, man.
And the Campbell Camels and Florida Gulf Coast, at which point something shocking happens. Not Nebraska, not Arkansas, but Campbell gets out of the regional.
Mine has it too.
I have Florida Gulf Coast.
What?
Oh my goodness.
What's going on?
My Connor World Series is crazy. So I got Kansas, West Virginia, Georgia, UC Santa Barbara,
nice,
Georgia Tech, Auburn, Oklahoma State, and Texas. Texas wins the College World Series over UC Santa Barbara.
That's awesome. That'd be Omaha's team.
UC Santa Barbara
would not be anyone else's team. Not even UC Santa Barbara. But it would be Omaha's team. That much is for sure. You got UCLA?
Yeah, I have UCLA over Georgia Tech in the championship, all national seeds in the Connor World Series.
It'd be fascinating to see how this how this all shakes out.
Only a few more days of a bracket sim for us.
So is it similar to like what we did with March Madness? Once the bracket's set, we can
We will
still
have to
run a sim a couple days before.
We
I'm
will
sure
have to
Pair
run
Ratings will have
our
us.
bracket sim of note, our
Yeah.
bracket sim of record.
Yep.
Which we did on the first day of the NCAA tournament when you weren't here,
Mhm.
which had Nebraska advancing to the Sweet 16, right?
Yeah.
Or the Elite Eight,
I think it was the Elite Eight and beating Iowa.
beating Iowa.
Yeah.
So the bracket sim of record will be happening 1 week from tomorrow. The NCAA tournament starts next
Incredible.
Thursday. All right. Platcat says, by the way, I can almost taste the Prasco. Oh, me too. Less than, about 48 hours from now, I'll be still doing this show, but then I will take a car over to Prasco Park from where I'm at. All right. That's it for us today. If you miss anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. We appreciate you all. As always, the crossover is coming up next.